Yeah.
the inclusion and equity. And,
well, I don't want to go too far down the race comment because this is what we're talking about.
Yes, I would say that we sending over, because they went over Hawaii. The B-2 stealth bombers flew over my state as they were being escorted by military planes.
Did you guys, and I see in the comments, Extreme Agent Boo says, she is very feisty, Tim, that's my wife. You got a fan. But did you guys get this, and I see you also, Will G says, MAGA ain't shit. It's called moving the goalpost. That happens often. Did you see the bombers?
I saw them on video. I was probably, I've been out, I have a life. I'm not always looking at the sky because we do have a lot of military here and a lot of, where they do exercises and stuff like that. So we have like choppers and, I'm in Hawaii. I mean, we have like the missile, we got a lot of things here, you know. So every time I hear a plane or something, I don't look up anymore because I'm just like, it's just another exercise. But I have seen the videos. But what I'm saying is, if we are actively sending over our own equipment, this isn't dollars, this isn't something that Israel has had in their stockpile, right? To do a action, right? Which I don't understand why our president, I still am very baffled of why he thinks that talking about military strategy on social media is a good thing. I find that very, I'm going to say it, retarded. I know it's not a word that we use, but that's a word I'm going to use for that.
Okay.
Because you're not, that's supposed to stay in the room. Anyway, but yeah, so if we're sending over our own equipment and we as a nation are carrying it out, we're not giving it to the Israeli government or anybody else to carry out. Yes, it was an aggressive act on a sovereign nation.
Why is it? But why do you think? Because the Trump administration, J.D. Vance said we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with their nuclear program. Of course, Trump, hell of a lot of MAGA, all saying it's not an act of war. Why are they? If you believe it was an act of aggression or an act of war, why is Trump and his administration and his supporters all saying that this is not an act of war?
Tim, I've been listening to your show. There are people that actually support him that have actually not been happy with this act. There are people in Congress that are like 100%, woo, I drink in the red Kool-Aid, that are kind of like purple right now. Like, not everybody's happy with it. This was something he did unilaterally without any help from, his constituents, the Congress. We've done a lot of shady things in government, but generally it's with congressional approval, with the help of, national intelligence and CIA and stuff like that. Not saying everything that we do is great, but generally we have all the people in the room saying this is the best thing, whether it be geopolitical,
I hear all that, but even right now while you and I are talking, I think it says Desmond Martin, he's saying this is not an act of war, it's such bullshit. So even right now, he's saying that what happened over the weekend, where we sent in tomahawks, dozens of tomahawks, we had, I think, about 150 aircraft flying over Iran.
This is what I'm going to say. If you do not believe that what we did is an act of war, when the Palestinian people go and try to get food and are, through aid and are getting attacked and unalived by military, is that an act of war? We can't have a...
My guess is they'll say no. If you're talking about the Israelis preventing Palestinian people from getting food, my guess is they'll say that's not an act of war either.
And then at that point, do the Palestinian people have a right to defend themselves? Like, we can't, do the Ukrainians have a right to... We're in a shit show right now, Tim. We got wars happening all around us simultaneously, where we can't even figure out what the death toll is each day. Vladimir Zelensky, they tried to assassinate him over the last 24 hours in Poland. That didn't make the news.
Really?
I heard it.
Oh, no, I didn't. Is that for real? No, wow.
It was on the news this morning on NPR. Yeah, because, he can't fly in and out of the Russia airbase, so he has to go through Poland. And, yeah, they had a hit on him. He made it.
Damn.
What is happening right now?
I knew under the Biden administration there was a hit on Zelensky's life, and the Biden administration had warned him. He's not getting any intel from America now under Trump. So, wow.
And that's true. And for everybody, you can say what you want. Yeah. World issues happen with every presidency. Okay. There's never been like a perfect climate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I do find issue with a little bit is, and you can look this up, and
I'm not finding anything on this attempted polling you're talking about. I'm not seeing anything on that.
You and I. Well, you can.
I just found something on it. Yeah, I just found something on it. Keep going.
Okay. You and I are both old enough to remember Serbia and Kosovo.
Yeah. Slobodan Milosevic.
Do you remember the president that was under that?
That was Clinton.
Thank you. I want to know why Donald Trump was taking credit for that, of him wanting to have a Nobel Peace Prize, because he solved the Serbia-Kosovo situation.
When did he do that?
He did that over Saturday or Sunday on his Truth Social. And I'm like, bro, do you know that was in the 90s?
No, he did take credit for ending the skirmish that was going on between Pakistan and India. Now, they came up and said he didn't have nothing to do with it, but he took credit for that as well. So, it's Trump.
But he also mentioned Serbia and Kosovo. And I was so excited to talk to you today because I'm like, okay, I know he's going to know. I know he's going to remember.
I ain't heard about that one.
Yeah, but the long rant, and he's gonna create peace in the Middle East, and he's gonna save just wait. But you can't get nominated on just waiting. But the thing that I thought was the most hilarious, I was like, Serbia and Kosovo peace agreement. What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't. Yeah, but it is Trump. Trump takes credit for anything.
But the fact is that there's some of us still alive that remember how old we were when that happened. Yeah, that was during the Slobodan Milosevic era. I don't know what. I got to move it on, but I don't know. Well, yeah, that's crazy. I'll have to look that up. I think it's an act of war. I'm a little bit nervous. Who knows what's going to happen? Because now, you know what? Also, if we can do it, China can. And if we can do it, Russia can. And if we can do it, we lost our high ground at this moment. So if we had any to begin with. So that's my final take.
All right, Shafine, always a pleasure. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program, by the way, and tap the screen, get us on up to about 60,000. We can certainly make that happen if you show the program some love. Just because of what my last guest was saying and I was not aware of, I am kind of curious to hear. Now, she said there was an attempt on Zelensky in Poland. I'm finding some stuff that's from a month ago, but not. Maybe. I'm just, like I said, I haven't heard it, so
Vladimir Zelensky.
I'm looking for what I can find. So I can't guarantee the reliability of any source I come up with because I hadn't heard about this, but I'm real curious to know if somebody tried to put a hit out on Zelensky.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was the target of a foiled assassination plot by a Polish pensioner with long-standing Soviet ties. This, according to Ukraine's security chief. The man was allegedly activated by Russia to kill Zelensky at a Polish airport using a sniper rifle or a drone. The plot was uncovered through joint efforts by Ukrainian and Polish intelligence. This comes amid ongoing threats against Zelensky, who has survived multiple assassination attempts since Russia's 2022 invasion, Newsweek has reported. Meanwhile, Russian missile and drone attacks killed at least 14 civilians in Ukraine, including 9 in Kyiv, as Zelensky visited the United Kingdom and peace talks loom in Istanbul.
I don't know. I see the comments. C Club or something said sounds like bullshit. And, you know, I don't know if it sounds like bullshit or not, because I know there has been some other attempts on his life, but you know, it sounds like AI to some degree. You never know when you're listening to something online nowadays if it was actually recited by an actual person. AI is starting to sound scary, you know, eerily human-like. It's really starting to sound frightening, but I believe that. I definitely believe the Russians are capable of taking this guy out and killing him because, you know, other leaders under the pressure that Zelensky has dealt with may have signed off some form of surrender of their nation, whereas Zelensky from the very beginning stated, I don't need, you know, I don't need to escape. I don't need a ride. I need ammunition. He made it clear from day one he was willing to fight to the death against the Russians. So you say what you want about the Ukrainians, their leader is a true blue patriot for that country. I mean, do you think our leadership would fight like that? I mean, really, do you think our leadership, whether it's Biden or Trump or Obama, I mean, this guy is roaming around the war zone in fatigues. So if they could get rid of Zelensky and have somebody else put in there, perhaps that person would not be as brave as Zelensky. So it would make sense to try to take him out. I mean, he's a thorn in the side of Putin, no doubt. Anyway, continuing on with the program, we're talking about what the hell is a war? Because many on the right are suggesting we're not at war with the Iranians, despite launching Tomahawk missiles from submarines off the coast of Iran. Dozens of fighter aircraft and B-2 bombers flying over the country, dropping bombs and destroying shit all over Iran. And people are suggesting that somehow, despite all of that, we're not at war with Iran, which my question I would pose is then what the hell is the definition of war, which is what we're talking about on the program. Please take care of yourself. I beg you, you need to start taking care of yourself. Don't let your life pass through without mental health. Thank you for the advice, Pablo. Going back to the box, I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone here before we continue on. Not enough money spent to be considered a war. Is that how war works? Is based on the dollar spent? Did we not consider what happened on September 11th as an act of war? Those 19 hijackers didn't spend shit. What is your definition of war? It's based on how much money is spent? Really? I've never heard that before. Let me go back to the box. He's stating that there was not enough money spent over the weekend. And by the way, there's got to be millions of dollars being spent. Those bunker busters, we dropped, 6 of them? Tomahawks, when we launched Tomahawks, tap the screen, I'll go to the next caller at 60,000. When we sent those Tomahawks into Syria under Trump's first administration in 2017, they stated then that a Tomahawk cost $500,000. One of them. Trump launched 60 of them into Syria back in 2017. What do you mean not enough money spent? Millions was spent on that shit. Millions of dollars. MAGA Reacts. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Feed the homelessness. There's no desire in this country to help out the poor, Rexby. That's just not going to happen. MAGA Reacts, good evening.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. Are we at war?
No, we're not.
What is your definition of war?
A prolonged fight, more than one strike.
So it can't.
What we did was an act of war, which you keep convoluting the two questions. It was an act of war, but it doesn't mean we're at war. It could have led to war.
So we were trying to start war with Iran. It just didn't culminate that way.
We weren't trying to. It led to war.
If you commit an act of you did an act of war without trying to start a war?
Yeah.
Give me some examples. You ever seen that happen?
What's up?
You ever seen that happen before? I mean, a country that committed an act of war, but they were not trying to start war.
I mean, when we went to Pakistan to kill Osama bin Laden, that was technically an act of war. I don't think we had permission to go to Pakistan. I could be wrong about that because I don't remember all the details of that. No. But yeah.
No, going
things like that.
You're putting America going into Pakistan and getting Osama bin Laden on the same playing field as what we did this weekend, bombing targets all over Iran?
I'm just giving you one example off the top of my head.
I'm trying to figure out how did that even get in your head? Those things are not even close. I mean, we didn't bomb anything in Iran, in Pakistan to get bin Laden, and bin Laden was not even a citizen of Pakistan. I mean, we went in there to get one guy. We just didn't get permission. We violated their airspace. Very similar to them, the Chinese sending balloons over America under the Biden administration. Do you believe that was an act of war?
You think if Pakistan flew 2 helicopters into America, I'm using your logic against you. Pakistan flew 2 military helicopters into America and killed even if he wasn't an American, killed some guy on our land, we wouldn't consider that an act of war?
No. Especially not if it was a guy who had did a whole lot of damage to the Pakistani people. No, I don't think it would be. Only way I could see that happening is if it was a government official that had ordered some awful act upon Pakistan, and then they came in here and did it. Then maybe in that case. But if it was somebody who committed an act of terror in Pakistan, and he was in this country and we didn't know he was here, and they came and took him we would have a problem with them violating our airspace. But I highly doubt if we would go to war or even talk about going to war with them over that.
Exactly. I mean, even this, we weren't trying to kill anybody. We're just trying to disable their nuclear program.
So then let me ask you this. If we're not at war with the nation of Iran, why are we asking for an unconditional surrender? Have you ever seen a country ask another country to surrender unconditionally when they were not at war with each other?
Well, I mean, what do you mean? That's just rhetoric. What are they going to surrender to? Are we going to take over their fucking country? What do you mean an unconditional surrender? We're just asking them to stop trying to build nukes.
No, Trump demanded that the Iranians issue an unconditional surrender. He used the word surrender. How can we?
Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Well, think about it. When do you hear a country demanding somebody else surrender unconditionally? It's always doing war.
Not really, but...
Give me an example. Give me an example of when it was used not during war.
I don't know. It's a rhetoric thing. What does that even mean, unconditional surrender?
It means...
We're not trying to take over their country. We just want them to
I can readily... You ask me, what does it mean to surrender unconditionally? That means you're going to give up with no conditions. Like sometimes you might say, we'll give up, but you got to allow our leadership to be in place, or we want you to give up and you get nothing in return. That's what an unconditional surrender is. You give up or we're going to continue killing you. That's what an unconditional surrender is.
All right. But again, I think, I don't know.
Take your time.
With you, we're always debating language instead of intent.
Trump
is not trying to get into a prolonged, military activity against Iran.
Yeah.
He's just trying to get them to stop building nukes.
I hear you. I get your point, but you're saying that I'm debating language. I'm not making this up, MAGA Reacts. This is exactly what he posted.
But we're nitpicking language. That's what we do every time I debate you.
We're talking
about, is this good for the United States or not?
But hold on. If the president of the United States is demanding another country surrender unconditionally, are you saying we should just ignore that?
Well, yeah. What do you mean? It's really good. You want conditions? You want them to allow, here's a condition, you could have one nuke, or
why would he?
We don't even know what that word means, surrender. Just stop trying to make nukes and we'll be peaceful and you guys will thrive and we'll even help you and we could talk conditions after you surrender. Okay, so we're going to ignore him demanding an unconditional surrender. He also is talking about the possibility of a regime change in Iran. Should we ignore that as well? Yeah, that's all rhetoric. And he's like, what's wrong with it? He didn't say that he wants a regime change. He's like, what's wrong with the regime change? If the people of Iran wants a regime change, that would be a good thing. If they don't want it, then, they can keep going with the people they got. Just all we care about is the nukes. So if it's all rhetoric, how do you know when he's saying something that he actually means versus rhetoric? I don't care what, this is the difference between the left to the right. I care more about the results. That's why yesterday I was all against this shit. But today, with the ceasefire that just happened like 10, 15 minutes ago, I'm like, maybe this will work out for the betterment of the world.
I mean, I hear what you said. So when he got on television and he announced that we had just struck several facilities in Iran on Saturday night when he said that, did you believe that was just rhetoric? I mean, if you don't listen to what the guy is saying or what he's posted online, because that's how we found out, is he posted it online first.
Versus him speaking, thinking out loud.
No.
Something that he actually did. That's not rhetoric. That's an event that happened. You know, it's not the same as him saying, hey, what if we do this? Or, you know, what if this happens?
If he's demanding unconditional surrender, is that not an event? Like when the Japanese surrendered to us at the end of World War II, that's an event. He's demanding something actually happens. An unconditional surrender is an event.
That's in the future. You're talking about something in the future versus something that happened.
But how can you, why are you suggesting that they surrender unconditionally?
You're speaking language here. Why are we fighting about?
Because I'm trying to find out, I'm
good or not.
Because I'm trying to.
Is this going to result in a good thing or is this going to result in a bad thing? That's what matters. And you're always on here nitpicking language with me. And this is like not even my first language.
Because I'm actually nitpicking language with you because I'm trying to get in your head and tinker around and figure out how do you think. I'm trying to figure out when does he say something and you actually take it seriously versus when you don't. I mean, he got on his Twitter or whatever you call it, Truth Social, and he stated that we had just bombed several places in that country. But then when he gets on there and says they need to surrender unconditional, you're picking it, like, how do you pick and choose what to listen to?
It's not about picking and choosing what to listen to. One is something that happened in the past, so I know exactly what he's talking about. You know, there's no other meaning to, hey, he bombed Iran. Like, he just bombed Iran, that's it. There's no interpreting that. It's just something that happened, it's very clear. When he says unconditional surrender, like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Does that mean they just surrender and then we can talk about conditions later? Well, what the fuck could that mean?
So when so based on what you're saying,
you're talking about like, I'm always telling you like, let's look at the results, and you're always talking about, oh, what if this? What if that? What did he mean by this? Like, I'm talking about like the results of things that happen, and you're trying to like make the future every time.
Yeah, but MAGA, based on what you're saying, if it's in the future and you know what the fuck, then the phrase "Make America Great Again" means you don't even listen to that. Then that's something in the future. You don't know what it quite means. I mean, do you even listen to the phrase he campaigned on, which is he's going to make America great again?
We both hear it differently. I think it means improving America for the better, to bring back all the things that make America great, including, you know, peace through strength, including, you know, a good, strong economy.
Okay.
You know.
So you can see
slavery and put everybody back in chains is how you hear it.
But think about what you just said. You gave all of your examples of what you think "Make America Great Again" means. All of that stuff is in the future that he's going to do all that stuff. But when he says an unconditional surrender, that's in the future, and it suddenly doesn't mean anything. That's why you see how this is confusing.
It means different things for different people, and that's an issue with it. But you know, you shouldn't judge him on it. Judge him on the results of what happened or what he does. So, like 2 days ago, I was against this attack, but
wait a minute, hold on. If you're suggesting we judge him based on what has happened, and that's the "Make America Great Again" is something in the future. It has not happened. So should we not judge him on that at all? Should we ignore that?
I don't give him credit for that yet. I mean, I give him credit in his first term, but I haven't given him credit in this term. I told you 2 days ago that he's like at a B minus. I didn't get to talk. I think I even brought it down to a C the other day, and now he's calling his ass back to a B.
Okay, I don't. Like I said, I hear what you're saying, but it's very difficult to interpret your level of thinking because you're picking and choosing when future phrases have some kind of relevance and when they don't. "Make America Great Again," you have a whole interpretation of what that means and how he's going to do good things in the future. But when he says an unconditional surrender, you don't pay any attention to that because that's in the future. I don't
know what the results of that's going to be. It's not that I don't pay no attention to it. I just have no idea what the results of that's going to be.
You don't.
The results of that could be a very peaceful future for the Middle East and everyone's happy. Or the results of it could be like Iraq, and we'll be dragged into a forever war, and it'll be a disaster.
You don't have any idea what the phrase unconditional surrender means. Nothing at all.
Again, I don't know what the results of an unconditional surrender is going to be.
Okay, we're not talking about the results. We're asking you, what is an unconditional surrender in your opinion?
I don't care what it is. I just want to know the results of his actions.
I'm not asking you if you care about it. I'm asking you, what is it?
I don't know. I don't know what it means in this context. I don't know if it means killing the entire leadership of Iran or just...
You have no idea what an unconditional surrender means, is what you're telling me.
It's a vague term.
How is the word unconditional and surrender used in conjunction with each other? How is that vague? That's as clear as day.
So what does it mean to you? What's going to happen then? He says unconditional surrender. Say they agree to it. What does that mean? That means you are going. That means you are leadership. What does it mean?
That means you are going to surrender to the terms we present to you with no conditions. You're going to do what we say. Hold on, I'm answering your question. You're going to do what we say, and you're not going to provide any conditions needed to do it. You're just going to do what we say. That is an unconditional surrender. That's how it works.
Okay, so why is it a bad thing?
Because it only happens during war. Because it only happens during war, which you're claiming is not in existence right now.
Yeah, but like I trust Trump not to fuck over Iran and not to fuck over the people of Iran. I don't want to say Iran itself.
Some would suggest you can't even trust Trump not to fuck over you. I gotta move it on, though, Mac.
Hold on, one last thing.
I'm going to surrender to you unconditionally. Give me your last word.
Basically, Iran says they're enriching uranium for peaceful purposes, for power. Do you know how many power plants Iran has?
No.
It's got one, and they get all the uranium for it. It's a Russian design. They get all the uranium from Russia, and they give the remainders back to Russia. So why are they enriching uranium if all their uranium for their power plants come from Russia?
I don't know the answer to that, but then I got to bring up, which is on my monitor, Tulsi Gabbard. Why is she saying they're not doing it? Your own national intelligence director, Trump's chief of, what is she, the director of national intelligence, she said in March, Iran is not trying to develop a nuclear weapon. She is the top ranking intelligence official in the country. Why would she say that?
Look, I mean, it's like having a neighbor that keeps telling you he's going to blow you up, and even though he hasn't built a bomb, he keeps buying fertilizer, and he's got no garden, no fucking farm, he just keeps cooking fertilizer. You're like, is he going to make a fertilizer bomb? Should I
He knows,
take fertilizer away?
But Marguerite, his intelligence director.
Whether they want to make a bomb or not doesn't matter.
His intelligence director knows that they're buying fertilizer in your example, and she still testified before Congress they're not trying to make a bomb. Why would she do that?
They still have bomb building materials. They're still gathering bomb building materials. At what point do you call the cops on your neighbor that's threatening to kill you every day?
She is the cops, MAGA reacts. She is the cops. She's came. You say you call the cops have come out. They did an investigation and they determined nothing is going on. She is the cops.
No, she says they don't have a bomb, but she didn't say they're not enriching uranium to build a bomb in the future.
Okay.
They're enriching uranium. They have a fucking uranium enriching. Like, these are facts. These aren't in question.
Let's hear what Tulsi said.
They're gathering bomb building materials. That's not in question.
Let's hear what Tulsi said. Let's listen to what Tulsi said again.
Cyber operations and capabilities also present a serious threat to U.S. networks and data. The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003.
What the hell? Why would she say that?
Because that's like a different, like enriching uranium, you're gathering the supplies. They haven't started making the bomb, but they're gathering the supplies.
And that alone is, even though she said all of that, gathering supplies is enough to go in and bomb the hell out of them, in your opinion.
Yeah, because gathering bomb supplies is illegal in this country. And it's because it's very, you can make the bomb really quick once you have all the parts. Just because you haven't started it doesn't mean you can keep the parts and
we had this whole conversation.
blow up your neighbor.
We had this whole conversation on how you don't take Trump seriously because it's in the future. But gathering bomb supplies, which is way off in the future, you're now okay with bombing somebody for it.
No, they're 60% done. So what
They're
percentage?
not 60. She made it clear they're not. She made it clear they're not even trying. All right, she made it clear they're not even trying to do it.
Of supplies right now. This is the present. We're not talking about the future. They have 60% of a bomb right now. When do you stop them?
They've been saying they got 60.
At 90, at 100. When do you stop them?
When they finally show proof is actually happening, you got your own national. You realize they've been saying for about 20 years that Iran is only a few months away from getting the bomb. You realize you and I could be having this conversation in 2010. They've been saying this for years.
But like the fact that they're gathering and enriching uranium.
They were saying this years ago.
We bombed are doing that.
Everything, hold on. Everything you're saying right now, they were saying 10, 15 years ago. They're gathering, they're this close. They were saying that years ago.
Okay, and they were at 1% back then. Now
No, they weren't. They were not counting percentages. They were saying they were only a month away from getting it. Years ago.
Yeah, and that was not true. And again, that's why we didn't do this years ago. But now we have better intelligence.
Okay.
You know, now we have better spying and better intelligence.
We don't have better shit. Otherwise, you wouldn't have your director getting up there saying that she's the one that would be over the spying and intelligence. You're saying we have this better. And she's saying it ain't happening.
But even Iran is like confirming some of this shit. It's not like they're arguing against it.
Also, now we gonna trust Iranian intelligence now? That's what we taking our. We gonna put Iranian intelligence over Tulsi.
I'm gathering fertilizer to bomb you. I'm gathering fertilizer. You believe the fertilizer part, right?
Oh my God, I don't know what I
They're
believe.
telling us they're enriching uranium. We're gathering bomb parts. We're just not going to use them for a bomb. That's what they're saying.
All right, I gotta move it on, MAGA.
They buy it from Russia, but they're making their own.
Okay, I gotta move it on. You know we do. Thanks for coming through. All right, good talk. By the way, I want to read a couple of tweets. This is from Trump. These are tweets. This ain't. Thank you for the money gun, Kentucky. Shout out to you. Thanks for the support. By the way, tap the screen. Get your likes on up to about 70,000. We can make that happen. You know how the program is read. We don't block, ban, or censor any damn body on the program. We're always MAGA friendly. Always have been MAGA friendly from day one. We go left to Bernie Sanders from having dinner with Q. You enjoy this type of uncensored dialogue. Show your boys some love. Give me a subscription if you're watching on YouTube. If you happen to be watching on Instagram or TikTok, follow the program. We're generally here most weekdays, so show the program some love. Real quick, before we go to the next call, I want to read to you briefly a few tweets. This is coming from President Trump himself. These are tweets, so you know they're a little bit old. And by the way, I seen the comments, Extreme Major Boo says, JD Vance ain't shit. Says JD Vance ain't shit. Tim, thanks for making MAGA reacts look stupid and confused. He can't answer shit. He's a radical. I'll leave that alone. I don't think he's a radical. I think he's certainly in the camp with Trump, but I don't think he's a radical. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Super Major Boo. November 29th, 2011. So what is that? 14, going on 14 years ago this November. Donald J. Trump on Twitter says, in order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. That came in from Trump back in November 2011. The next year, January 17th, 2012. So you're talking less than 2 months later, President Trump got to Twitter and said, Barack Obama will attack Iran in order to get reelected. Wow. Let's go forward about 8 months. Actually, about a year and 8 months. Now we're in September of 2013. September 16th, 2013. President Trump on Twitter. I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. Notice all of these have Iran in common. Last but not least, less than 2 months later on November 10th, 2013, remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. All of that came from Trump. He clearly had a problem with attacking Iran throughout the Obama years. All while, even then, we were claiming that Iran was only a few months away from attaining a nuclear bomb. Now, my last caller talked about getting caught up in Trump's rhetoric. I suppose if I had asked him, he would have referred to this as just rhetoric coming from Trump as well. But Trump is clearly criticizing the shit out of the current president at the time, Obama, for the notion that he might attack Iran. He didn't, apparently, based on these tweets, he didn't see any need to go into Iran at all back then. In fact, he was highly critical of somebody who would have thought about it. So understand that. You know, it sounds like it might have been just politically advantageous for him to do it now and politically advantageous to criticize Obama for doing it then. Temperature and bankrupt the system so he can try to become king. Damn. Some weren't born back then, chatting. 2011? Really? It's 14 years ago. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get me on up to 75, if you will. Larry, shut the fuck up. I do what I please, dude. You ain't over me. What is going on in the chat? Dude, this wasn't even something Trump could have gotten wrong. This was the obvious choice for any president in his position. He truly would be stupid if he didn't hit those sites now. Bullshit. No, wait a minute. Hold on. When you say that this wasn't even something Trump could have gotten wrong, I'm going to tell you what I said before. You got the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, saying they're not developing a nuclear bomb. Can we at least get clarity on that shit before we start attacking Iran? If the leading director of intelligence in your own, this isn't CNN, this isn't MSNBC, this isn't some liberal, this is the lady you appointed over all of our intelligence agencies. NSA, FBI, CIA, you gave her the fucking job. She came back with they're not developing a nuclear weapon, and you completely dismissed what she is saying, stating she's wrong, they are developing a weapon. Can you at least show that to the American people before we just rush into this shit? Is it wrong for the American people to ask, why is the leading member of your organization saying something different than you? Is it wrong to even ask that? Should we just take Trump at his word and not question anything he does? His own national director, his own national intelligence director is saying that. Should we just ignore it? Continuing on with the program, Mike, welcome to the show. Good evening. Is it wrong? Should we just skip over Tulsi Gabbard? She don't know shit. Trump has all the answers. What say you?
Cacostocracy. We're being led by fools. I told you that. Either way it goes, it's bad. If she was wrong, that's bad. If he didn't listen to her, that's bad. For her to turn around and come back and say he was right, she was wrong, that's bad. Tell me where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me where it makes sense to not listen to your officials. And then they talk about intelligence. If they didn't get it from her, where did they get intelligence from?
It's a good point. My guess is, and I think you and I would agree on this, Netanyahu was at play.
Of course.
Yeah.
The prostitute in chief will shake his ass for anything. I've been telling you this every single week. The prostitute in chief, so Netanyahu can just tell him to shake that ass, and he'll shake that ass, right? Because think about this, Tim. Think about this. Now they're applauding a ceasefire. When do we reward the arson for helping put out the fire that he started? This didn't have to happen.
No, it didn't have to happen. It did not happen. First of all, I tend to be on a different side that we should be able to tell other countries they cannot have weapons. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, even if we're going to stop the Iranians from getting a nuclear bomb, we should have to at least explain why his national director of intelligence is saying otherwise. They should have brought her back up before Congress and made her show why what she is saying now in June is different than what she said in March. Otherwise, she should be held in contempt or perjury for lying.
Absolutely, because you can't this immediate turnabout. You know, this immediate about face. And here's the thing, Tim. Don't forget. When I say he started the fire, you got to go back to Obama's term when he terminated the nuclear deal and put nothing in place behind it. Now, they can talk about it was a bad deal, but I don't know about you, Tim. A little water is better than no water at all. Right? So for them to say it was a bad deal and do nothing, and you can see, because if you go Google, you can see, matter of fact, I have it somewhere, you can see where their enrichment started increasing over the years after
the deal
that
ended.
deal was closed, right?
And,
So,
that makes sense. Trump canceled the deal and put nothing in its place. So why would they? I mean, even right now, Trump is saying essentially, either you stop developing a nuclear weapon or else. Under the Obama administration, there was something given to them to, it was a negotiation. As Trump says, Obama's not good at negotiating. Trump's negotiation tactics are do what I say or else. I mean, that's what he's telling them. What did he say? Surrender unconditionally, which MAGA reacts did not know the definition to.
Absolutely. Or I gave him 60 days. This is day 61. What kind of negotiations is that? And then to get out and send that tweet and say as if it's a victory from somebody. But I don't know if you noticed a tweet yesterday when he tweeted MIGA. Did you see that?
Make Iran great again.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he was talking about regime change. That's what I asked MAGA reacts once again. He referred to that as just rhetoric.
And well, here's the thing, MAGA reacts. That's the kind of rhetoric that gets people unalive.
Yeah.
Because when you say that, you're talking about going in and doing that. And we've done it before, so it's not like we haven't done it before, because that's what we do. See, we never deal with our own demons. We always demonize everyone else.
Yep.
Right? Because at one point in time, what's the name? Saddam was we were cool with Saddam at one point.
Yep. When they were fighting Iran back in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then what happens? So again, they have excuses for everything that he does, and it's so bad that they think it's good, but I don't believe that they believe it. I know some that are far gone in the cold, but it's just like this shouldn't have happened, Tim. And he did call it a war. Let's be clear. So anybody in the comments...
Did Trump call it a war?
Yeah, you read his statement. Tim, you read the statement. Are you not paying attention?
Which statement? I read a lot of fucking statements from Trump. Which statement are you talking about?
Where he just declared this ceasefire and that they ended this 12-day war. I didn't say it. He said it. He said it 3 times. Hold up, Timmy tweeted. He called it a war 3 times.
I'll tell you something was really funny. Is that, and this has been common even since the Sarah Huckabee Sanders days when she would speak on his behalf as his spokesperson, is that Trump says stuff, and when he's being criticized for it, MAGA and his supporters often rush to defend what he says and spin it, and then he comes right behind him and says, no, I actually meant it that way. So, if he actually said it was because I've been talking to MAGA for the last 2 or 3 days, and they've been trying to say, this is not a war at all. So you're telling me Trump don't came behind us and said, yeah, I was at fucking war.
Pull it up. He said, now, MAGA is saying, not United States war. If we participate, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I come over your house for a dinner party, and
okay,
I eat, did I participate in your dinner party?
You didn't help cook the food, but you ate. You were there.
So was I part of your party? I mean, get the fuck out of here with all this semantics about whether it was war or not. We participated in their conflict.
Now, he said, I'm trying to find that. He says, after a long night of talks mediated by the United States, I'm pleased to announce that India. Oh, this is a different claim. I'm looking for what you're talking about, though.
He put Iran and Israel ceasefire. He put it on True Social.
I'm dying to see that. This guy, Trump is a very interesting person. I'll just say that. He is a very interesting person.
Let me see if I can.
You know what? It's like the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting man in the world. Stay thirsty, my MAGA. He is a very interesting man, but I'm dying to see.
This man lies every third breath.
The man has a lot of support, a lot of love.
You can find it. at the end of the day, this is, and here's the thing. As soon as they dropped the boom booms the other night, he declared total obliteration.
Yeah.
Total obliteration. When you and I both know you wouldn't know the extent of the damages that soon.
Not when it's still at night, even with satellite photos and stuff, when it's still at night. But I mean, let's just be clear. We know Trump is going to exaggerate. But yeah, he did announce total obliteration late Saturday evening. And yeah, there's no way to, unless you had, what is the Israeli Defense Force called? The Mossad or something. I mean, I guess if you had somebody on the ground and they could see it, but highly unlikely that they would want to be anywhere near where those bunker busters were dropped. So yeah, when he announced it the evening of the actual bombing itself, yeah, that was just an exaggeration. There was no way to know that. Even now, if you see the satellite photos, the before and after, it's hard to really see any difference.
Exactly. So again, and MAGA reacts, he lies all the time. And I mean, not MAGA reacts, Jeremy. And if you're saying he doesn't, there, my friend, you lie all the time. Because this motherfucker lies every single day. Like literally every single day.
Well, I think it's kind of like what MAGA Reacts was talking about. If you don't pay attention to Trump's rhetoric and tweets, then it doesn't come across as if he's lying, because you're not even, the stuff that he's saying that will turn out not to be true, you didn't even pay attention to it.
Well, let me ask you this. Well, here it is right here.
Yeah, hold on. It's on TV right now. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed between Israel and Iran. There will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. So, all of these...
Let me read you another quote. On the assumption that...
Oh my God, that was just on News Nation on live. That was just live on News Nation. Go ahead.
And I told you he said it multiple times. Here's another quote.
Oh my God.
On the assumption that everything works out as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called, in caps, the 12-day war. That is on Truth Social.
Wow.
In caps. Now, if you read what I just said...
Oh my God, that is hilarious. That is hilarious, because that is the whole purpose of this live, is to ask MAGA, what is the definition of a war? Because they're all saying it's not a war. And then he caps off the fucking evening by saying it's a war. I've been talking to MAGA all day I've been talking to MAGA for the last 3 or 4 days, saying that this is not a war. And here Trump comes along and says, you know what? The war is over.
Right. Now, we defended them. We were helping them with defense early on, right? We were helping them with defense early on, and they said that we weren't involved in the conflict, right? That was just us defending them. Although, so then, when we drop boom booms, now what are we doing? It's either a counterpunch or a punch, but at the end of the day, we're still involved in the fight. But don't call it a fight.
I don't know. This is hilarious, though, because I've been talking. I said MAGA is adamant. I even had somebody in the comments on YouTube a moment ago say that it's not a war. It's bullshit to even call it one. God.
Whatever.
12-day war, huh? Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna say this before you move on. With all that being said, they can shake hands and congratulate, and he wants to congratulate them for having stamina and courage. This is not a fucking game. But here's what's gonna happen. We've literally participated in continued radicalization over there.
Yeah.
If you think that their message isn't going to be, look what the Americans just did again, you're kidding yourself. And I don't care about a ceasefire or that message. If you think that we're not going to deal with this at some other time in the future, you are insane. Because these things don't end. Matter of fact, Iraq just announced that they're taking up this whole cause because they don't like us either.
Yeah, my guess is certainly not only with this whole deal, but all of the assistance we're giving Israel, it's not going to look good as well. But yeah, I would not disagree with you at all that it's, at the very least, if we could have a radicalized MAGA voter take out a couple politicians in Minnesota, we can easily find at least one radicalized supporter of Islam that doesn't like what happened in Iran or does not like what's happening in Gaza that already lives in this country. Yeah, my guess is you certainly will have at least acts of terror in regards to what's happening here. It would not, and listen, I'll just say it this way. If something happened within the next few months and we found out that person was radicalized due to what happened in Iran or what happened in Gaza, would it really surprise anybody?
Wouldn't surprise me a little bit. One bit. And here's the thing: what's the best time? What's the best time to strike somebody? When they relax.
Yeah.
When they relax, when they think it's over, when they're cheering like MAGA reacts and them are cheering. Yeah, look what Trump did. He saved us from nuclear this and congratulate Donald. That's when bad things happen, just like 9/11.
Yeah.
So you can continue to think that we're doing good across the globe when we're doing this, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help. And we still don't know how many people were harmed, too.
Yeah, in regards to that, that's another thing that folks have suggested it's not a war because nobody died. And I asked one woman that said that, I'm like, you really think we bombed places all over Iran and not one casualty happened? I mean, I don't know how much ordnance we used in that country on Saturday, but we bombed a lot of stuff. You really think nobody lost their life at all in Iran that night? It's insane.
Over $100 million we spent. Over $100 million.
Yeah.
Over $100 million. And first of all, Tim, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna go. I thought America first. That was bullshit. No new conflicts. That was bullshit. Waste, fraud, and abuse. That was bullshit. I mean, it's so many things that are happening that they want to champion, and it's all bullshit. Bullshit. This MAGA reacts and those that support it, man, listen. The one thing I will say that he's doing well is he has got you guys. MAGA reacts, you probably got carpal tunnel. You be fluffing Trump so hard. I mean, listen. And he might cut your Medicare and Medi-Cal, so you might want to stop because you won't have any benefits here in a minute. Because it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
Real quick, Teddy Owens in the comments on YouTube saying over 100 million in a parade. I don't know where what is it? 1 in every 3 Americans were at this parade. I don't know. 100 million people cannot even fit in D.C. But go ahead, Mike.
He's talking about the cost of the parade.
Oh.
And the cost of, he's talking about the cost.
Okay, that makes more sense.
He's talking about.
That
I
makes
think that's
sense.
what he's talking about.
Okay.
But it did cost over $100 million. If you just listen to them, they fired, how many Tomahawks did they fire? 30? They're $2.5 million a pop, right? And then the Moabs, listen, they just think about the operations. Think about everything that was sent into the region. All the aircraft carriers and everything that was sent that way. There's a cost to all that. There's a cost to all of this stuff. We keep acting like it doesn't matter. By the time they get back and everybody's cheering, listen, we're over, we're about $500 million when you think about the parade and you think about this conflict and what you're talking about almost $500 million, and it's only been 6 months.
This is a busy man. I got to move it on, Mike, but Trump is a very busy man. Some would say he's done more than any other president in such a short time. He moves fast, whether you like it or not.
Congratulations on raising your gas prices through the summer. They were already going to be up anyway. And if Iran closes that small strip,
the Strait of Hormuz, or whatever,
if they close that shit, get ready for some expensive ass gas, people.
If they close that, then it's going to be a war because they're going to start whatever they use to close it. We're going to blow it up. So that'll just be more war.
Hey, all right, Tim.
Thank you, Mike. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen, get us on up to about 90. Thank you, folks that are showing the program some love and support. Thank you for tapping the screen. Trump has done more bad than good. Well, I'll leave it up to you what you think. In judging the quality of what Trump has done, I'll leave that up to you. But he absolutely has done more in a short period of time than probably any president we've ever had. Just the amount of EOs, the amount of executive orders has been astonishing. So he's done a lot. You may not agree with it, but he's done a whole lot in a short period of time. Wasn't spending supposed to go down, says Ace Ventura. Good to see you back, Ace Ventura. Yeah, but listen, Trump campaigned on going over here, and once he won, he went over there. So, I mean, a lot of things Trump said he was going to do. I mean, if it's one thing, I'll just say this, and I know my MAGA viewers may have an issue with me saying this, then you can let me know in the comments. You know, I don't mind the criticism, but if there's one thing I think Trump would have a hard time saying right now is promises made, promises kept. Other than securing the border, most of the things he campaigned on, he's not even close to them becoming reality. Securing the border and getting immigration under control, he could certainly take credit for that. I mean, you may not like what he's doing to secure the border, but damn it, the border is really fucking secure right now. So he's doing that. But outside of that, most of the, lowering the price of groceries and eggs and gasoline and interest rates and all, most of that stuff is not. We haven't seen much movement between him and Biden. I mean, promises are not being kept in regards to that. I mean, in fact, he got into office and started talking about short-term pain for long-term gain. Obviously, ending the war in 24 hours has turned into a comedy show. That no chance of that happening, probably in the next 6 months. My guess is, and I'm assuming you guys can have your own opinion on this, but chances are the Ukrainian and Russian war, 6 months from now, that'll probably still be going on. And there's no chance of what's going on in Gaza and with the Israelis stopping until they run out of Palestinians. I mean, Netanyahu has pretty much got full control over that, and he's showing no signs of ending that. He's just looks like he's trying to continue going until you just run out of Palestinians to take out. Look in the comments, why you don't talk about your country, my African man. Africa is starving. What do you want to talk about in regard? All of Africa is not starving. That's not true, Omar. There are plenty of countries on that continent that are not starving. So that's not actually true. PA, is that your only retort? Even Tesla bombed. Oh, you talking to each other? Okay, ain't a single price gone down, just holding. Yeah, I'm not aware of anything economically that Trump is able to brag about. Nothing. Interest rates, like I said, in fact, we lost our AAA credit rating under Trump. I'm not aware of any of the economics where Trump has a right to brag. All of that stuff has gotten worse, or at the very least, remains stable. He's not improved any of that stuff. As I see in the comments, Miss Mobetta says gas went up today, and that is true. Nigeria is striving. There you go. I think Ghana's doing okay too. I mean, in fact, there are some countries that are now come forward and said if you're an African American, you can get free citizenship. Some of the African countries are now offering blacks in America, if you are a descendant of those countries, a pathway to move there. So if you're down with the Back to Africa movement, there is a place for you. Looking in the comments, thank God for President Trump, says Mark. I don't know if Trump is a believer in God himself. Didn't he say he's not a Christian? Thank God for sending us a non-Christian, huh? All right, going back to the bots. If I can bring it up, we will continue with the Mr. Walter. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Go argue with somebody else, Chris. Nobody cares. No, I'm not allowed to marry a Muslim, just as Muslim girlfriend isn't allowed to marry me. You guys having a conversation too, huh? Can't even hold the Bible correctly. Yeah, Trump with the Bible upside down. Mr. Walter, good evening.
Hey, Tim, good evening. I guess we got our answer. I mean, Trump said it was a war.
Why was this? Yeah, Trump called it a 12-day war, but why do you think so many MAGA were adamant that it was not a war?
Well, they're in a cult. They don't want to admit that no new wars means we're in a war. They well, I mean, you saw MAGA react. He could not trip over himself more to fucking. Yeah, he was adamant it's not a war. I mean, this is what we're dealing with these people. And I will say, in my opinion, A war is when Congress declares a war, in my, estimation of it. And many presidents, including Obama, which I thought was a very successful president. He dropped bombs on a lot of people. Whether it was, necessary, I kind of believe his people more so than what this reason is for basically backing up Israel. I don't know. I mean, I kind of tend to agree with Tulsi Gabbard on this one, and also the IEA. I mean, all of their assessments are, if they wanted to do it, they could have done it, but they haven't done it. And they basically they kept their end of the agreement that we dropped out of.
Well, the Trump administration, though, claimed that Iran was not honoring the deal they made with Obama. I mean, if you believe the Trump administration, he said they were not honoring that deal, which is why he got out of it.
I think the agency that was inspecting their facilities and so forth said that they were. I'm not aware that NATO or the UN agreed with Trump with that at all. If I'm correct, it's exactly what you're saying, is that the rest of the world believed that the Iranians were honoring the deal. Yeah, from what I understand, they have had this technology just like Pakistan has had, which I think Iran has been technically superior to Pakistan for, 30 years. They've had the capability to do this, but they have chosen not to do this, which is, they've been played this.
Hold on 1 second. Here's another statement from Trump. Says this is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. So there's another. These are coming in now. So this is another statement from Trump, once again referring to it as a war. Go ahead, Mr. Walter.
The man is a master in manipulation, marketing, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's selling this thing that they did because he knows it's hurt him with some of his MAGA people. We saw Marjorie Taylor Greene, what she said. And, if she's saying these things, there's a lot of MAGA who are not happy with what happened. And now he's selling it as, well, now we're at peace because we did this thing, right? Now, whether it was needed or not, I don't make that call, but if I had to guess, it really wasn't. I don't know why we're always simping for fucking Israel. I mean, we talked about this the other night, but
that's exactly. I'm on your side with that. I believe that's exactly what this is simping for Israel. My guess is Trump's opinion about how we really needed to do this immediately is something that derived from conversations with Netanyahu. Because, like I said, if Tulsi Gabbard is saying that they're not doing it, what is making you so adamant that we must bomb them now? Him talking to Netanyahu, because Netanyahu is the one that's been constantly in favor of going after the Iranians, and obviously Trump and Netanyahu talk often, but I believe that's where that's come from, as you refer to it as simping for Netanyahu. I believe that was Netanyahu's work.
And I think he forced Trump's hand by, bombing when Trump did not want that to happen. I mentioned this the other night. I think they forced his hand on that, which,
what do you mean?
Just talks to his character. But, ultimately, what is the result of this? I don't know. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't think it's a great thing. If I were Iranian, people, or not people, but the regime or whatever, what is your motivation for not developing a nuclear weapon at this point?
Right.
Well, why would you not do that now?
That's about the only thing that's going to get the West to leave you alone is if they developed a nuclear weapon, we would be more hesitant to fuck with them. I mean, until Iran develops a nuclear weapon, you're right. They're going to be continually under the thumb of either Israel or the United States.
No, it's not a great look. I think the MAGA people will eventually come around and be like, okay.
You think what?
MAGA people will come around to Trump they will come to Trump's side even though they were initially not happy that he started another war. You know,
I think there's a few like the Marjorie Taylor Greens and Tucker Carlsons and Bennons that are speaking out. But I mean, I've been talking to a lot of MAGA over the last few days, and most MAGA already have come around. Many of them already are saying that this was necessary.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, even those outliers, maybe not Tucker Carlson, but you know, many of those outliers, they're going to be like, yeah, well, ultimately, we brought peace, we closed this, problem or whatever. I do think that also Iran doesn't have a fucking pot to piss in. They don't really have anything to any leverage on us. You know, yeah, they did a little tepid response.
Well, what about the notion that there may be radicalized Iranian descendants already living in our country?
I think that is propaganda to also justify this bombing, and the fact that it won't happen. I think it's just fear mongering, and the fact that it won't happen.
So you believe it's fear mongering? You believe it's fear mongering. So you don't believe there's any real chance of any act of terror taking place because of this?
No, I don't think so at all.
I got to differ with you on that. I really do believe that. Certainly, you mentioned Netanyahu, and I think that Netanyahu is probably the center of all this. But I do believe that America continuing to support unconditionally, as Trump would say, to continue supporting Netanyahu unconditionally, I could see that, that could be certainly radicalizing people, because the amount of folks that have died in Gaza is insane. I could see that happening.
I mean, I could be wrong, and if let's say something did happen, how would that affect Americans? How would people perceive what happened today or yesterday, whatever? How would they perceive it? It was necessary. It was necessary that we did that because these people are against us. You see them doing terrorist attacks against us.
No, I don't. No, I mean, even as bad as September 11th and what happened that day, there were Americans that admit that bin Laden was acting out due to a lot of American involvement in the region. I mean, look, at the end of the day, none of these folks just woke up and said, fuck the United States, I want to go over there and cause some problems. If you actually sit down and talk to those folks, even though their actions are atrocious, and I'm not defending any act of terror, but if you talk to them, they didn't just wake up and start hating the United States. We are doing things that are pissing these people off. We don't like the response. We don't like how they're responding to what we're doing, but we are doing things to affect their lives.
I don't disagree. Just saying that the notion of sleeper cells is this sort of leftover novelization of something that's not really a thing anymore. But we'll see how that plays out. I think it's just scare tactics to demonize the people that we just bombed. That's all.
I hope you're right, Mr. Walter. I'll move it on, but because we got July 4th coming up, there'll be Labor Day, a lot of soft targets in parks and in places all over America. I really want you to be right. I really want to be wrong. I don't want to be doing a live on some playground that got gunned down because some radical decided, now it's time to get back. So I hope you're right.
Me too.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Walter. All right, moving on with the program. Let me just ask you folks, by way of yes or no. By way of yes or no, how many of you believe that what has happened over the last month or so, backing Netanyahu, going into Iran, let's say within the next 12 months, calendar year, how many of you folks believe it's likely we may be the victim of a terror attack? By way of yes or no in the comments. Directly related to this. I'm not talking about a terror attack for something else. Directly related to what just happened within the next 12 months. How many of you folks believe that might be likely? Look in the comments. I'm just curious to see what your opinions are. Look, at the end of the day, a lot of people have lost their lives, and there's a hell of a lot of folks in the Middle East that believe it was unnecessary. I'm going to say at the very least, it's a possibility. Trump is a cult. He's a cult leader. Bad news, says Extreme Major Boo. Well, he is our president. Crystal Lopez, thank you for the support. Appreciate that, Crystal. Says War Powers Resolution of 1973 gives the president 60 days to act militarily before needing congressional approval. Section 1543 and 1544, everyone has an opinion and nobody can read. I can't read that. I'd have to see. I haven't heard that. So you're telling me the War Powers Resolution Act of 1973 gives the president 2 full months to deem whatever he needs to do without needing Congress? If so, that needs to be reevaluated. Let me just say it this way. If it's an emergency, let's say, for instance, it's an atomic attack and the country's in shambles, communications are down, and you just don't have the ability to access Congress. You got to do what you got to do to save the damn country. I could see it under that situation. But what just happened on Saturday from President Trump, I don't see there being any reason to do that without convening before Congress. We declared war on Iran, and now that Trump admits it's a war, we don't have to use the word allegedly or any other bullshit. But we declared war on Iran for something that we've been claiming they've been doing for about 20 years now. You're telling me you couldn't convene with Congress and all of that damn time? I mean, Trump was saying in his first administration that they were developing a nuclear weapon. There's plenty of time that could have been used. I mean, so even if what you're saying is true about the War Powers Resolution in 1973, it's more of a loophole than a necessity. There was plenty of time for Trump to bring this before Congress as a need to act. Plenty of time. He just decided, I can do it, I'm going to do it. And thank you, Moran, for reaching the Patriot level. Thank you, by the way, for those who are reaching Patriot level. You sent a direct question. We'll make a video directly responding to your question. So I believe the email is in there. Thank you, Moran, for that. What is war? Baby, don't hurt me. Isn't that a song? Not Fine Young Cat. Oh, that's a 90s or an 80s song. What is war? Baby, don't. Well, what is love is the song, though. Baby, don't hurt me no more. Who was that song by? It ain't the Fine Young Cannibals. It's another group. Okay, anyway, let me go back to the actual show here. He has to inform legislators within 48 hours. Do you think he even did that? SGB 72. Do you think Trump informed anybody? My guess is the first time the powers that be in Washington found out we were at war was probably when Trump got on social media. A lot of them folks, that was probably the first time they found out. Obviously, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, some of the military may have known, but definitely when you're talking about liberals in Congress, liberals in the Senate, he ain't told them shit ahead of time. They found out in fact, Bernie Sanders was holding a oligarchy. What is it? Stop the oligarchy or whatever these things are. Him and AOC are holding all across the country. Bernie Sanders was actually at the podium preaching progressiveness when one of his assistants came up and told him he's a sitting senator. He wasn't advised about it at all. So yeah, you're saying he had to let folks know. Trump didn't let anybody know what he was about to do. Obama drone Yemen every day, no Congress, says Crystal Lopez. I'd have to go back during that period because I can guarantee you one thing. If Obama was droning them like that, the Republicans were bitching and complaining about it. Guaranteed. Because Obama droned a U.S. citizen that was trying to actively kill American soldiers, and the right complained about that, which is literally nothing more than an act of self-defense. They were complaining about Obama deporting people. So my guess is if what you're saying is true, Obama was constantly droning Yemen, I bet you it wouldn't be hard for me to go right on Google or on YouTube and find plenty of reports from politicians at the time that were bitching about Obama doing that, saying it was wrong. Now all of a sudden Trump does it and it's right. Looking in the comments, Bernie is one of only a handful of good ones. Oh, okay, all right. Ceasefire was just called. And I see now Trump just released another statement. Iran was officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities. Well, it disappeared. Chris Cuomo's on, but he's dropping social media tweets right now. So if anybody got your computers up, I can only run so much equipment at one time. But Tim forgot what show he was on, Joe Biden's moment. That happens, Extreme Agent Boo. That does happen. Let me go back to the box. Gangsta Grandma, good evening. Welcome to the program. So it was a war, Gangsta, right?
Yeah, no shit, it's a war. And they really think that Iran's done? People are special to think that.
What about Trump saying, "Oh, hold on, report. This is coming in as well. Breaking news. This is almost laughable. Report: U.S. did not destroy Iran nuke site." That's a ticker on News Nation. We didn't even destroy the site, gangster.
Because they're special. We have like baboons in the office. I tell you, we got corn-fed, interbred motherfuckers in office.
So
we truly do.
So, but let me ask it to you this way: if the whole purpose was to stop the Iranians from developing a nuclear weapon, we went over there and didn't even destroy the site, but there's a ceasefire. Do we break the ceasefire and go back?
Oh my God, we're already in the shit. They're gonna hit us. It was just a tease what they did to over there when they did those bombs. Let me tell you something. It's coming. We have sleeper cells in the United States. It's coming. It's coming, and there's no ceasefire yet. The motherfuckers haven't agreed to it.
Well,
that's just a baboon in the office saying it. See, motherfuckers believe the baboon. You know what I mean? He's two French fries short of a fucking Happy Meal. You know what I mean?
You know, in defense of what you're saying, because I agree with that, I was going to say the same thing to my last caller when we're talking about the ceasefire. Exactly what you're saying is, how do you know you can trust that? I mean, that's coming from Trump.
That's coming from Trump. And that dude last time, you know, he's on our side, but, they ain't going to do nothing more. Yes, they are. Oh, it's coming. Let me tell you, it's coming. They're going to strike us. It's coming. We're in a war now. You know what I mean? Because you have a baboon idiot in there. Oh, let's do it without Congress approval. Let's do it.
Well,
and didn't even do the shit right. We spent all the shit, all this fucking money, and didn't even do it right.
And I see in the comments, the Supreme Leader of Khomeini said, those who know the Iranians and the Iranian people know that our nation never surrenders. So they also are releasing statements on X saying, so this whole ceasefire or whatever, they're claiming.
It's not over with. They got idiots too over there. They will blow themselves up just to get to us.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Why can't we get it too? Why can't we get the maggots and those idiots together and let them just go at it? You know what I mean? Just give them on a fucking island and just go at it. And hey, the best man wins. Both of them be on-off.
Well,
you feel me? Can we get them gone? Because you know what? My brain is hurting. You feel what I'm saying? The maggots have lost their fucking minds. And they're still saying it's not a war. No, it's not. It's not a war. Get the fuck out of here. You mother inbred motherfuckers.
well,
your mama smoked too much with you.
Well, I will say, and I just saw the comments, what you saw, it's saying it's not a war, but yeah, Trump has called it a war in multiple posts today. In the last hour or so, Trump has referred to it as a 12-day war, said the war is ended. Trump is calling it a war.
It was a war between, thank you, whoever sent that to me, I didn't tell me. But our fucking baboon of an idiot should stay the fuck out of it. You feel what I'm saying? The imbecile should stay the fuck out of it and let those two idiots go at it. But oh no, he has to kiss ass, like yes, master, to another white man. You know what I mean? All these motherfuckers got protein all over their mouths. Really hard. We got him and Israel. We got him and Putin. I mean, he got cum everywhere. You feel what I'm saying? Come on. The interbred is really interbreeding. He likes it like that. And he's gonna hurt us.
Protein all over it. You're talking about a protein drink, right?
I said protein. You know exactly what I mean. Don't be that damn special.
Yeah, like a protein shake. Like when you're working out.
No, a protein. The shit that he be bobbing on. That shit. Be popping out shit. The shit that women do like. Well, the freaky women. You feel me? I like chocolate protein. I can't handle the uncooked protein. On God. So, he got a lot of uncooked protein on that.
You know what you're
saying?
You know what you're saying, suggesting that our president is cum guzzling or whatever. You realize that's just
He is cum guzzling.
that's
He's
disrespect.
worse than a porn star, honey. He's a yes master. Give it to me, baby. And he got the chains and everything. He like it like that. Yeah, he sure do.
You know you're being exceptionally disrespectful to our commander in chief.
Do you think I give a darn?
No, I don't.
Do you think I give 2 fucks? Do you think I do? He don't like my black ass. I sure don't like his white tea ass. And what? The saltine.
Do you not at least respect the office?
I don't give a fuck about the office right now. Let me tell you something. We got baboons. We got the orange Jesus thinking that he's almighty and he's going to do all this. And you know what I mean? We have the dipshits, all of his little pit minions. They all come good. They probably jacking off every damn night to each other, just drinking it up. No, I don't have no respect. And I sure don't like the maggots.
No. I mean, listen, folks vote for Trump for different reasons. I mean,
I'm just shut the fuck up on that. Trump, they voted for him. No, they voted for him for hate. They voted for him because they didn't like black people. That's what they fucking voted for. You want the real fucking truth? That's the fucking truth. They don't like our black asses, and you kiss their ass every damn day. Yes, master. Maggot, whatever his damn name is, he don't like you. He'll put you in a damn tree. Like he said to you, he would still vote for him if they knew that he was a racist. Get the fuck out of here. They voted for him because they was racist. They did not want a black woman that is educated. They didn't want her in office.
Every single MAGA voter is racist, according to you.
Every single maggot, yes. Because you still going for him. You still know what the fuck he's doing. Yes.
So the Hispanics that voted for Trump, they're racist?
What?
The Hispanics that voted for Trump, they're racist?
What do you say?
Can you hear me?
Yes. What's a maggot? Yeah, I can hear you.
I think you're going. Your signal is going bad. Yeah, your signal's going bad, McGangster.
No, I'm here. I'm back again.
Okay.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
You don't
I had to go feed my dog.
I ask you this all the time. You can't come up with one legitimate reason that has nothing to do with racism why somebody would vote for Trump. Not one legitimate reason, huh?
No. What has that baboon idiot to do? Let's do it. Let's do it. Tell me, what has he done? Our gas prices are high. The fixers shut down the damn whatever that shit is over there because I pissed the fuck off. So our gas prices gonna go sky fucking off. Over the deep end. You know what I mean? He hasn't done nothing. It all was because of race. All this shit was because of race. And the guy said,
What about security?
Listen, guy in there, I'm a proud Hispanic voter. I bet you are. You scum of the earth. I bet you is. Proud, but you're going next, bitch.
What about the fact that he secured the damn border? Can't you give him some credit for that?
He hasn't secured it. The only thing he's done is made fucked up laws. Laws are not even laws. He's broken every fucking law. He's not supposed to take away asylum, but he took it away. That's against the Constitution. You know that, right? He's done that. He's doing shit that he's going against the Constitution. What kind of shit's that? So you think that to give him an A+ for that? Fuck no. I'll give him an F-.
Do you realize how much border crossings are down since Trump became president?
God damn. You know what? I'm going to lose my Christianity with your ugly black ass. What I just got done telling you. What did I get done telling you?
Damn, I just started looking bad, huh? Okay.
No, you been looking bad. I can't even be nice to your black ass. I just said to you. What did I just say to you? He's done unconstitutional shit. Do the shit so he won't bring the people back over here. He did. Yep.
How do you respond to my callers who suggest you're chastising MAGA for being racist and all that, and then you're referring to me as ugly black ass? You're doing a lot of the stuff you're criticizing MAGA for doing.
My TikTok husband. What the fuck I cannot do that for? What the fuck? What's TikTok husband wife? I can do what the fuck I want to you. Shit. And what?
After you do everything you want to me, does any of this end at the end with you having protein?
No, not your kind of protein, but you're too fluffy. So if you want to be fluffy, might be one thing, but just taste fluffy. I can't deal with fluffing ass mofo.
There is no fluffing here, gangster grandma. There's no fluffing.
You know what, Tim? You be fluffing every fucking night. You really do. You don't kick their asses. You don't wipe their asses up. You don't give them nothing. You won't even give them a protein shot of some chocolate shit. Man, go and suck it up and anything like that. I give it to them like that because that's why they can't stand me. They always tell me, "Oh, you're just racist. You're just racist." No, bitch. I'm giving you everything that you give to us, bitch. And what?
Well, speaking of giving, Jake Williams in the comments says Gangsta Grandma needs a little bit of Trump grabbing her scooter. So.
Oh hell no! I don't like uncooked meat. I swear to God, I cannot. I tried to take it for the team when I was drunk. When I looked at that little uncooked meat, I said, "Fuck no!" It couldn't even hit my G-spot even if I wanted it.
You know Trump was considered a very attractive man back in the day, though.
Honey, that's not what those white teen women said that was sucking on it. They said it was nasty. Honey, shrimp biscuit type of 2-centimeter peanut weeder. You feel what I'm saying?
You saying, they said all that about him, but they had no problem putting it in their mouth. Does they have credibility?
Oh, they would take it all, honey. They would take it all. It was all about the money, honey.
Okay,
shit. And honey, if I had no pride. And after I would have took it too, just for that money. But honey, I cannot in my, I don't know, I couldn't sell my soul to the devil. When I see that uncooked chicken looking shit there.
You just have a deep-seated hatred for Trump.
Have you ever seen a piano sausage? On God, have you ever seen a piano sausage?
I've eaten one. Yes.
Do you know the white maggot wingy dingy look like that? They're like a pink, I'll tell you, pink heads, everything. I can't. That is ugh.
Getting back on topic briefly here. Mr. Triggerfinger says Iran said that they have not agreed to a ceasefire. I haven't seen that on the news yet.
No shit. It's just a corn-fed mofo in the office saying it's a ceasefire. No, it's not. They haven't did it. Why do you think they haven't did it? Because they're coming for our asses. They are. Yeah. And people are so stupid to believe we got sleepers. So get on some real shit. All joke aside about the uncooked meat. This uncooked meat just got us into a whole lot of fucked up in this shit. You know what I mean? We're gonna be blown up in pieces, kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? You think
you're suggesting that Trump has gotten on social media and lied to the American public and told us a ceasefire has happened. It's not happening.
Trump lies to his own fucking brothers and sisters and shit, on his own damn family. You know, he lies every damn day. He lies to his own maggots. And they say, yes, master. They're still saying, yes, master. This ain't no war. Yeah. We have half the country in a fucking cult, okay? And we have to fight that shit. And now they're gonna come. Now attention to the cellies that is undercover, that's in our country. Please don't blow the good ones up. Go for the maggots. They're the ones that voted for the crap.
All right, I gotta move it on, gangster.
Don't go for us, Blueies.
You didn't make it easy on me today. I gotta move it on with my ugly ass, as you say.
Okay, you know what, Tim? On God, they need to go blow up the one that he's. What is that? The part in Florida he's at?
Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah. What? Tell them. Tell all the people.
Wait, hold on. Are you calling for Trump's residence to be destroyed?
Yeah, I don't want them coming after us. What do we do? What the hell do we do? Do we tell them that? No.
He's our president, Gangster. He's our president.
He ain't my president. I voted for her. I vote for the black woman.
He represents this nation, Gangster.
He represents the maggots. He don't represent me. I don't bow down to the white tea man. I don't like uncooked meat. You feel me? No. The maggots.
Uncooked meat. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta move it on. You and this uncooked meat.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Tim? You have a good night, though.
It's an interesting night to say the least. Thanks for coming through.
You know what though? It's not over though. It's truly not over.
I tend to agree with you there. That's about, you got me on that last one. Thanks for coming through. Moving on to the program, man. That was not easy. It never is. By the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy on up to 110,000. Tap the screen, get the likes up. Caleb, that grandma is a typical Democrat. Thank God, all ended. Oh my goodness. Continuing on with the program, I appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. By the way, if you do enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, which you clearly saw demonstrated there, follow the program. If you're watching on Instagram or TikTok, if you're watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. That's how we do it. We're here generally Monday through Friday. Real quick, if you believe in Trump, you're a fool or just a bigot. Damn, Walter. How could you trust him? Well, a lot of people actually do trust what Trump is saying. I see some folks in here disagree, though. Looking in the comments, these crazy people vote. Yeah, they do, Mark. I'm sorry to inform you, ma'am, but Kamala isn't black. She's in. What else are you trying to say there, Edward? And by the way, Kamala Harris is black. She absolutely is black. Bruno tells my last caller, you ain't black, lady. What, vote for me and you ain't black, huh? Trump is saying that Iran and Israel is agreeing to a ceasefire. Yeah, I had a viewer that just suggested that Iran said that they didn't give a ceasefire. You know, I'll just say it like this, because Trump is known for exaggerating. I don't think there's anybody here that would disagree. The liberals call what he's doing is telling a lie. The right will say he's exaggerating or embellishing the facts, if you ask Kellyanne Conway, embellishing. But fact is, numbers, things that Trump says often are exaggerated. You know, inauguration crowd size, military parade crowd size, his own height and weight. I mean, he's known for exaggerating. So him suggesting that Iran and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire, I'm just going to say, based on Trump's history, I need to hear it from Iran. Or Netanyahu. If Netanyahu was on television saying they agreed to a ceasefire, I do need to hear more information than just from Trump. That's me personally. Maybe a lot of you folks feel that I'm full of shit for not trusting our president, so be it. But me personally, I need to hear that claim of ceasefire from more than just President Trump. I'll leave it at that, because obviously Tulsi Gabbard saying that Iran was never developing a nuke to begin with, and Trump saying they were. I just need to hear it from more than Trump. That would give me a little bit more confidence in it. Extreme Amazing Boo says, Tim, maybe you should sing for Gangster Grandma. You can't win. Maybe say, baby, don't hurt me no more. We gonna be playing that song. Whoa, whoa, I like that song. All you need is your vote. Okay, now you got me wanting to hear that. I don't know, and I don't care. All right, looking in the Trump got far in the mid '90s. He used to look like his youngest son, and all those hoes got paid to suck dick and shut up. Damn, JB, that is true though. Trump got more NDAs. Shit, I mean, who knows how many NDAs Trump don't pay it off. I mean, yeah, they did get paid to do exactly what you said and shut the fuck up. How is it that there is videotape of her saying herself that she's Indian? She was bragging for years that her culture is Indian. It's written on video. It's recorded. Google it. She was saying, you know, here's what I don't get. Same thing when they say there was video of Obama saying he's from Nigeria or from Kenya or wherever the hell it is. You don't believe shit that comes out of a liberal's mouth until they say something that works to fit your narrative. Nothing else Kamala Harris said you would give any credibility to. But she says she's Indian. Why can't we trust her now? Okay. I mean, where does her birth certificate say? All of a sudden now she says she's Indian and you want to, see? She must be Indian because she said it. Well, she also said Trump lost the 2020 election. Do we go with that one? Do we go with any of the other shit she said? It's kind of like the whole Malcolm X thing about what Malcolm X said about the liberals. as if he didn't say all kinds of disparaging shit about white people. It's okay to go about the liberal comment, but all the rest of that shit, you know, when he's hanging around the minister and all that, let's get away from that. Picking and choosing what you want to run with, huh? That's how it works. Looking in the comments, but she went to an HBCU. Yeah, Kamala Harris is as black as I am. Well, maybe not as much in terms of my ancestry, because both of my sides of the family are straight descendants from slavery, but she's a black woman. If Kamala Harris was being chased down the alley by police, they would radio in that they're chasing a black woman. I'm sure her driver's license, when they put down on there, it says black. Likelihood when she filled out applications, maybe got a loan to go to school, she put down that she was black. And nobody questioned it. Nobody. You know, you often hear folks ask the question, why is it that the liberals had no problem with Trump until he ran for president? Why is it that even rappers and black people were affiliated and friendly towards Trump until he became president? The same folks who asked that question would not have any answer at all for why was Obama and Kamala Harris totally fine being black until they ran for president. Understand, running for president makes people fuck with you, period. The same folks defending Trump, how he was treated before he became president, are doing the exact same shit to the opposition. Before Obama became president, when he was a senator, nobody was questioning whether he was black or not as a senator or any of the other positions he had. Same thing with Kamala Harris. You go back through Kamala Harris's history, ain't nobody questioning. She was a attorney general, a district attorney in California, but nobody questioning where she was from. Looking in the comments though, it might be some type of crime. We're all idiots when politicians are involved. I like that statement. January 6th, enough said. You are all traitors, especially Trump, says Cool Ed. Damn, Cool Ed. Let me go back to the box. I didn't miss anything, did I? Make sure I didn't miss any super chats in there. Nope, did not. They said she wasn't black, but treated her like she was. Shit, what the fuck makes you black? I mean, really, what makes you a black person? Trump, the great divider, that's the difference. Let me go to the box. We'll continue on with Jeremy. Good evening, Jeremy. Welcome to the program. Iran has come out saying the ceasefire is a hoax. Wow. Jeremy, good evening.
Hey, did you see the comment I wrote?
No, I did not. Cue me in on it.
I said Kamala Harris is as black as Frosty the Snowman.
So what do you suggest? What do you suggest? That she's a white woman now?
Like gangster grandma, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Kamala Harris, what is your definition of a black person? What makes a person black?
A black person has to be somebody who has, I don't even consider light skins to be black. I consider their parents maybe to be black, but I consider people who have a certain level of melanin and to be black. And you don't have to be from Africa to be it, but you have to have a certain amount of melanin and certain ethnic features.
So if I can get rid of the melanin in my skin, I might not be black in your eyes. What if I'm an albino? What if both of my parents was dark as me, but I was born an albino? Am I not a black person?
No, but you have genetics that go back to it.
Well,
so you're genetically what you are is I would say you're genetically black, but not effectively black.
What the fuck is that? What is effectively black? Explain that.
It means that people try to ignore that they don't like it, and when you use the N-word, basically.
You really are a genuine white man. You know that, don't you?
You're allowed at the barbecue, but everyone's kind of like, just remember.
I want to be effective. I should get that on the t-shirt, sell some merch. Effectively black. I should start putting that on the shirt. Effectively black.
Do it. Start up your own merch line. I'm not even joking. I will give you my full blessing.
All right. I don't want your blessing. I want your goddamn credit card number. I don't want your blessing. This isn't a school shooting. I don't need your blessing.
I I will buy one of those shirts if you.
That's what I want. I don't want. This isn't a school shooting. I don't need your blessing. I want your credit card number if I make some merch. Real quick before we continue on, Extreme Asian Boo says, Tim, I honestly think we would not be in this whole mess if we voted for Nikki Haley, and I think things would have been a whole lot more better off. That's real talk. Do you think Nikki Haley could have at least made the country a little less chaotic?
I don't really know much about Nikki Haley. She was a fart in the wind, and she just disappeared. She was kind of a background character in the world of politics. So I didn't really have much time to really pay much attention to her. Maybe. You never really know.
I get your point is relevant about her being a background. I won't go with the fart in the wind, but she was a background character. But that's mainly because MAGA was so much in the camp for Trump, they really didn't give her a chance to even listen to what she said. I mean, Trump didn't even show up at the debates. I mean, MAGA knew they were going to vote for Trump. It didn't matter what she was offering.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest. After Trump lost to the 2020 election, man, we all knew he was going to come back and he was going to be the guy.
But did you say what I just heard? You said after Trump lost the 2020 election, so he did lose.
I'm just going to go ahead and just say that I believe that he lost, but I do totally understand people who say it was kind of fucky wucky, like it looked a little weird, like this kind of mail-in ballots. I'm not even saying like that it was fraudulent. I'm just saying I can understand people looking at it and be like, seems a little odd.
Okay.
Well,
he's claiming he's claiming he won by a landslide, so he ain't even said.
Yeah, I voted for Trump, but he is a sore loser.
No. How do you feel about that though? That the president of the United States will not accept losing an election, and of course, in that last election, he did things that that caused somebody to get killed. I mean, Ashley Babbitt lost her life because of that lie.
See, the thing is, I think that it's a character flaw. I don't like it about him. It's the least thing I care about when it comes to his flaws. The thing I care about a lot more is that he bombed Iran.
You believe that lying about a national election that caused the deaths and the invasion of the Capitol building, you believe that's a character flaw?
No, wait, how many people actually died on January 6th?
Well,
Ashley Babbitt did.
Ashley Babbitt lost her life, but other cops passed away. I mean, there are other people who died that they're tying to that event.
I thought that they already had. I thought that one of them was just somebody who had a stroke a few days later, like it was a cop or something like that.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, even if it's just Ashley Babbitt and the cops you see getting their ass beat on TV, is that not enough? I mean, there were cops that were being beaten by the protesters.
Well, again, let's live it. I do want to talk a little bit more about these Iran strikes, but before we do, I do want to say when it comes to the whole incident with Trump at the Capitol, he was making it clear he wants people to protest peacefully, and they didn't do it.
We'll go ahead and talk about the Iran bombing, but the whole notion that he wanted people to protest peacefully, I think leaves out a whole lot. I mean, he gets up there after Steve Bannon and all these folks are talking about, let's have trial by combat and we got to take our country back, and says all these violent things. But because he said, let's go to the Capitol building peacefully and patriotically, all of those other folks that were invited there to speak by him, we exclude all of the violent stuff they were talking about.
I don't remember a lot of that stuff. I just remember Trump's speech, but I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, it was
Trump
there.
Said something that said, look, Trump said something that said, those views that those people expressed weren't of mine, weren't something that I support.
You invited these people out here. They said it, and you didn't have any follow-up. You didn't try to correct it. I mean, I'm sure that Trump is sitting there hearing his opening accent, all this violent shit.
Well, no, we're in agreement about that, Tim.
Okay,
We're in agreement about that. I think he should have been. I think he doesn't want to admit this. He may be kind of a guy who can come in and be kind of alpha from time to time, but I do think he's scared of peer pressure. I think he wants people to like him a little too much, to the point where if you say to him and I come out of him, like, now this man, he's a great man. Forget about all of his crimes. He's a great person. I'm telling you, his dick huge.
But let me ask you before we move to the next topic. Is it wrong to bring up January 6th? And I'll tell you what I'm saying is Stephen Russo in the comments says, dude, please don't tell me you're still talking about the Capitol riot. What is wrong with you? Are you okay, bro? The question I'm asking, the reason why I'm asking you this, we can talk about the crime bill from 1994. We can talk about Willie Brown from God knows how far back. But when we bring up the Capitol building, why the hell are you still talking about that? Can you explain that?
So here's the thing. I know people don't want to hear this, but the right has far fewer incidents of violence compared to the left. There's just like if you look at the sheer numbers, it just happens. There's a lot less.
What is your definition? What is your definition of? What is your definition of violence? What is your? I mean, we just had some Minnesota politicians unalived in that city, or that's in Minneapolis, and that's MAGA. That just happened. What is your definition of violence?
No, that's bad. But I'm saying if you're looking tit for tat, we just have fewer of them. That's the thing you just described is a violent event, but remember every single time there was riots, and it's for BLM, it was always in the name of Black Lives Matter, or there were like Antifa people who got violent after Trump's inauguration. There was Kathy Griffin, and with the whole
Kathy Griffin held up a severed head of Trump. That's all. She didn't do anything beyond it. I mean, you realize how many Trump supporters held up pictures of Barack Obama with a noose around his neck? They even did the same thing for Mike Pence. That's not an act of violence. That's a suggestion of violence. But I don't think that alone is an act of violence.
Okay, well, we'll strike that from there because that was. You're right. You're right. It's more like inflammatory speech. But again, we can look at the Summer of Love. We can look at Chaz. We can look at all the different buildings that have been burned down. We can look at all these, and we can just see a consistent pattern that the left gets more violence.
You know, I'll tell you why I think that the left has more violence. I think it's mainly because we attribute a lot of folks as being part of the left that are not. Like, for instance, if there's a Black Lives Matter riot and there's a whole bunch of people running into a Best Buy, stealing TVs or setting things on fire, we attribute that to the left, even though many of these folks are probably felons, juveniles, have no legal right to vote, but people are calling them the left. These aren't people that are showing up to vote. These aren't card-carrying Democrats. These people don't vote at all. A lot of them folks that were part of Chaz, these motherfuckers are homeless. They're not showing up to vote. How are they being attributed as being left-wingers?
Chaz was organized by people in college.
But that don't mean they're all showing up to vote, though. Some of them might be immigrants. They may be immigrants and shit with no voting rights at all.
No, most of these were native-born, of-age college students who had read a little too much Karl Marx and got all giddy and decided to say, we're going to start a revolution.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying is that they often attribute stuff to the left, and the people that are like a lot of that George Floyd protest. These people say cities are burning down. A lot of that stuff is juveniles, felons, and opportunists that didn't vote at all. They're not even involved in politics, and they're being called left wingers.
Yeah, but the problem is there's too many people who carry water for them. They don't stop it from happening a lot of times, and that's only some of them. Some of them are actual left-wing activists who actually agitate in this kind of way. Now, here's the thing, Tim. Okay, I regret my vote for Trump because of his attacks on.
What?
Yep, you heard it. You heard it.
If you could go back in time, you're telling me you would not vote for Trump?
Yep.
Wow.
Does that mean I regret everything that he's done?
Wow.
No. I told you, the man I voted for is not the man who I got. I voted for one person on the campaign trail, and I didn't get him in office. No new wars. What he did was an act of war.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh my God, really? You're really surprising me.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. If he had done exactly what he said he was going to do, sure. I wouldn't say this at all. I would be like, at Instagram, I could cry about it, so I could sherbet. No.
Wow.
seriously, like, he did not keep his promise. He went back on what he said.
You know what's crazy is you're saying you regret your vote and you would not have voted for him. He's only been in office 5 months and he's changed your mind like that. He's got 3.5 years to go.
Well, think about this. Think about, like, if you have a relationship with somebody, people have things that are like deal breakers, right?
Yeah.
You know, everyone's got their deal breakers, and they could do everything else right. They could wake you up with a pancake breakfast every morning. It'd be great in bed. They could be wild and full of the desire to have adventures and go places. But then all of a sudden you find out that they have a record, like they're on the registry or something like that. Sorry, that's a deal breaker.
So wow. And I see in the comments you're already attracting the ire of MAGA. Pendulum Paw says, Jeremy, you switching sides. Don't come back. They're throwing you away. You're getting thrown away in real time.
I am loyal to principles, not to people.
Damn.
I'm loyal to yeah. And you should be like that too. You should want Trump to do what he said.
Damn.
Here's the thing. Honestly, like, I voted for him also because I wanted to get rid of illegal immigrants. I wanted to make sure that everyone is here because they're supposed to be here. And honestly, if there's more illegal immigrants that are deported, it'll probably make me feel a little better. But like, if someone doesn't do what they say, are you gonna still vote for them when they aren't who they said they are? I know what I voted for, and I know what I didn't.
Wow. I don't even know how to address you anymore. You don't sound like opposition no more. Damn, really?
I will be opposition when people interfere with ICE raids. I think those people are idiots, and I think that I should. I think that if they put the lives of ICE agents in danger, ICE agents should be able to fire back with lethal force. I will definitely be opposition there. But I am a man who holds people accountable to their actions. Trump is not God to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And thank you for the comment there. Moco74 says, I give you a pass, Tim, because you're fairly decent, a decent guy and educated. I appreciate that. Everybody wouldn't agree, but thank you for the compliment. So I'm just surprised, Jeremy. We've been talking, I don't know, well over a year? You've been MAGA the whole time. This is wow. So Trump has crossed that line with you.
Yep, honestly, and to be honest, and again, he could do a lot of other things that are good, and I would still say, yeah, but you shouldn't have bombed Iran. And I'm willing to congratulate him and praise him when he does something right. But I can't say the only thing he could possibly do to get my vote back is if he admitted, oh, you know what, this was the wrong act, I shouldn't have done this, and admitted on public television. And he's never going to do that.
No. Wow. What about the supporting, before he bombed Iran, what about his unfettered support for Israel? Were you okay with that?
I was always weary of that, but I never had strong feelings about that. The thing is, I'm not super educated about the Israeli-Palestine conflict, so I was always kind of like, you know what, I don't know much, I'd rather not have an opinion, because then I'd have a stupid opinion.
Well, no, I agree with the first part. I don't know much, I'd rather not have an opinion, but as opposed to not, I would say go do some research and find out, because we're knee deep in it. I mean, so if you don't know much about it in the beginning and somebody questions you, that's one thing. But I would say, while you may not speak on it at that moment, I would say go do some research in it, because America's knee deep in that, and we could suffer terrorist attacks and all kinds of other stuff. We're obviously spending a ridiculous amount of tax money because all the stuff that Israel is using to bomb and go after the Palestinians, we're paying for all of that stuff. So we're knee deep in that conflict.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, I still have been looking back and forth into it. My current opinion is this. Hamas absolutely did commit an act of war and an evil act on October 7th. There's no getting around that.
Right.
There's no getting around the fact that Hamas is an evil organization that has done horrible things. But I think Israel is using this Hamas as evil as as a free pass to do whatever they want to the Palestinians. And I do think, I don't know about a full genocide, but they are absolutely taking revenge on Palestine.
Wow. Wow. You are literally turning blue. I mean, are you low on oxygen over there? You're turning blue. Wow.
Here's the thing, okay? I still want all the illegal aliens to deported. I still am more about lowering government spending. I haven't changed much, Tim. The Overton window has changed, okay? Everyone, what you have to be to still be on the right has changed. I've stayed the same. I'm still your lovable neighborhood Jeremy.
I mean, you sound, I know you're, 29? You sound like you literally sound like you matured 10, 15 years in this one conversation and we don't have dozens of conversations. I mean, it's you made a good point. I haven't changed. The party I voted for has. I mean, you're swinging for the fences. Wow. Wow. I can't believe it.
Well, you got to be able to live with yourself, Tim.
Damn, more? There's more?
Yeah, you got to be able to live with yourself.
Oh my God.
And this is why I can't be a politician. This is why I could never be a politician, because I'd have to make deals with people who I didn't want to make deals with and violate my own principles.
Damn.
So I have to live with myself at the end of the day, and I stand on principle, not on people.
All right, Jeremy, I got to move it on. It's a good conversation. That was a good conversation. I appreciate it, man. Man, I mean, wow. I mean, he made a good point. Listen, I didn't change. I mean, he admits he wants the border secure. He wants folks deported that are not here illegally. So he still leans right. But like you said, I didn't change. The party I voted for did. I voted for Trump. He had no problem admitting that, but I voted for the guy to do what he campaigned on. He's not doing what he campaigned on if you listen to him. He really orated that well. Wow. And then to top it off, I'm really shocked to hear him talk. But to top it off, I have to be able to live with myself. Where the hell did that come? I've never heard somebody that's MAGA say something like that. I gotta be able to live with the choices I make. Wow. Jesus. Okay, all right, we getting somewhere. Let me go back to the box. Jeez. I won't forget that call anytime soon. Next time I have him on here, he'll be talking about stomping black people or something. He got to do something to get me off of that. Wow. Crazy. Jeremy is very confused and turning blue and doesn't realize it. Greg, here's the problem, though. You're saying Jeremy is, and I said the same thing, but I was joking about it, but you said that Jeremy is very confused and turning blue and doesn't realize it. Here's the problem, though. He talked about standing on principles, voting for a politician that actually measured up to what he campaigned on and being able to live with himself for the choices he makes. If that constitutes his turning blue, what the hell does that say about the party that's red? I mean, what he stated is something we should all as voters aspire to do, whether you lean blue or red. You should vote for people that are going to measure up to the campaign promises they made, as he just stated. You should want to live with yourself after the choices you make. I don't see anything he said that was bad. Even if he's not Democrat, he's not going to vote for Kamala Harris. I didn't ask him if he could go back in time when he had voted for Kamala Harris. My guess is he would have sat out the election. But he's not happy with what Trump is doing. If simply not favoring what your politician is doing because they went back on their campaign promises and wanting to live with yourself for the choices you make means you're turning blue, that paints the red party in an awful light. I'm just going to say that. Looking in the comments, though, Trump is orange. Hello, it says lunar. I'm mad about Diddy being bullied. Okay, I don't know what that's got to do with this, though. I'm not mad with Trump. I'm mad with Bibi Netanyahu. Yeah, not Bibi. But Trump has an option. Trump doesn't have to listen to what Bibi Netanyahu is telling him. Anytime he's not even listening to Tulsi Gabbard, he can certainly not listen to Bibi. I mean, he's picking and choosing to listen to these people. So I don't know if there's something in it for him in the future or what, but you don't have to listen to them. Anyway, moving on with the program, and thank you guys that are tapping the screen. We might be able to get up to 120 thou, Thou, if you tap the screen, get the likes up. Tim, what is your honest opinion of the members of this Trump administration? New Vision, my honest opinion of the members of the Trump administration is this is the most loyal administration probably in U.S. history. Tulsi Gabbard clearly testified before Congress that Iran was not trying to develop a nuclear weapon. Trump says she is wrong, and without ever so much as telling us why she made a mistake, she just changed her mind. It sounds like she's saying, yeah, he's right, I'm wrong. What the fuck is that? Why is she even still the director of intelligence if she could fuck up like that? By the way, she should also be held accountable for perjuring herself. She says that they're not developing a nuclear weapon. Trump says, yes, they are, and I'm going to go attack them. And okay, well, shit, if that's what he wants to do, I better change my opinion to fit his narrative. Most loyal administration in U.S. history. That's my opinion on it. Look, and I believe that no matter what any of them are doing, Trump can snap his fingers and make them go the other way. You got Kennedy in there getting rid of vaccine doctors and shit like that. If Trump said we need them, they will be back tomorrow. I just believe that these folks are, for the most part, just going by what Trump says, even though they're supposed to all be specialists in their own right. That's you're the president, you're supposed to surround yourself with the best and brightest. Everything from the Joint Chiefs to Director of Intelligence, head of the FBI, all these folks are supposed to be specialists. They provide you with advice, and then you choose whether or not to take it or not. I don't think these folks are telling, I think Trump is telling them what to do. I don't even think they're really giving them advice. This is what you're going to do. And they just have to do it. They're just kind of figureheads at this point. Yes men, yeah, like the Bears. Yeah, I think they're more or less yes men. And Congress is that way too. Congress is not challenging anything he's doing. He just admitted he started a war. Trump is crazy shit. I'm not changing. Only my wife can make me change. Listen, I don't know. Should you vote based on what your spouse does? Isn't that the reason the liberals are suggesting Trump did so well with the women's vote, is that they just followed their spouses? Let me continue on with the program. Gen X, fuck around and find out. Good evening, Gen X. Trump listens to no one. I agree with that. I believe that's true.
What's going on, Mr. Jim?
Not much at all. So, was this a war?
No.
Then why is Trump calling it a war?
What's that?
Why is Trump referring to it as a war?
I don't believe that we're at war with Iran, and here's why. Number one, you asked the definition of a war.
Right.
Iran hasn't fought back at us yet. I see this more like a police action than I do a war.
Wait. You said because they haven't fought back. Hold on. You said it's because Iran hasn't fought back. So if you're beating me to a pulp and I'm not fighting back, so we're not in a fight then.
We did not go in there with the intention of overthrowing the Iranian regime. We didn't go, and in fact, my understanding is that there were minimal casualties, if any. We only hit strategic locations that were nuclear, that were enriching their nuclear program. Iran's got they've got uranium that's 60% right now. They get to 90%, all bets are off, man. They can construct a weapon.
So
now you know this well, Tim. You know that I was against this strike, and I voiced this on your stream.
Mm-hmm.
I was 100% against it. In fact, I'm not against it to the point that I'm going to disavow Trump. That ain't going to happen. But when I heard his speech, when he said, I had my mind made up about this for a very long time, Trump doesn't speak in parables. The way he thinks it is the way he says it. And that offends a lot of people. When he says that he made up his mind a long time ago, I believe that this is a choice that he wanted to make back on his last term.
So when he So when he campaigned on America first and being a nationalist and taking care of this country and getting out of overseas, he was lying.
You're moving the goalposts, man. You're moving the goalposts.
He did.
What I'm saying
Did he not campaign on that stuff?
Something he had planned back in his first term. Now, if you remember correctly, Netanyahu went and visited him after he got elected. I believe that these two already had this shit planned. They had it planned, they just didn't have a date. And when Netanyahu went out there after what happened in October in Israel, Trump was like, well, you know, Netanyahu kind of manipulated him, I think, to go ahead and strike. But I don't necessarily think, I'm not for it and I'm not against it. Right now it's too early in the game. If in fact Iran has agreed to a ceasefire, I'm all for it. If in fact Iran hasn't agreed to a ceasefire and we start shooting at each other, then I will be against it. But I need more information. I'm not just going to base my perspective on half a story.
So but I have to ask you then, why did Tulsi Gabbard just a few months ago say that Iran is not trying to get a nuclear bomb?
Tulsi Gabbard, that is not what Tulsi Gabbard said. What Tulsi Gabbard says was the IC, okay, the IC says that it appears that Iran is not developing nuclear weapons, nor has the Ayatollah approved it. According to the IC, the intelligence community, there are 18 agencies in the federal and the U.S. intelligence community. 18 agencies. Now she's just the face of the agency. She's the head of the intelligence agency. So 18 agencies.
She's the director of it. Yeah.
Hear me out. I got 30 seconds. I'll hang up. I'll land the plane. If 18 agencies have the majority saying that they're not doing this, watch the interview with Tulsi Gabbard. You can tell by her face she doesn't necessarily believe it, but she's saying it because that's what her agency. You're
going to ignore her words and go by facial expression. What the hell are you, a profiler? You're ignoring what she said and going by facial expressions.
I'm absolutely going to go by a gut feeling. And here's the other thing.
So wait, hold on. So in other words, when she said it, even though you said your gut feeling says she didn't believe, so she lied. She lied before Congress.
Here's the other thing. Let's just assume that she did say that.
Why do we have to assume?
Hold on. You need to tell me that intelligence can't change from a month ago until a week ago? Maybe they just found it out. We don't know that. We don't see the information that these people have.
Okay, let's go with what you just said. That all of this, maybe she changed, we don't see the information. Then shouldn't Trump have to show actual evidence for why he's saying something different than she just said a few months ago before we start bombing shit?
He did.
What did he show us?
He did. He said that Tulsi Gabbard's interview was wrong.
That ain't showing us shit.
Tulsi Gabbard was wrong. But that's based on Tulsi Gabbard at the time, 3.5 months ago. And maybe she was wrong. Maybe they didn't have the intelligence just yet.
Shouldn't he have to explain that?
Why? Why should he explain it?
So that we know we can trust you. You just went before Congress and said something. Now you're admitting 3 months later before we go to war with this country was totally false.
Okay, so he proves it. He proves it. Now the Democrats know he's going to bomb. He kept them in the complete dark. The complete dark. He told certain members of the Republican Party, of the GOP, what was going to happen, like a handful of them.
You don't.
He doesn't trust them. I don't fucking blame him.
Okay, now that he's already bombed them, how about showing us proof now?
It's not over yet. The fat lady hasn't begun to sing. Now here's the other thing about the ceasefire. Hear me out. About the ceasefire, there was no ceasefire. There's a 6-hour hold on the ceasefire, and then there's 2 12-hour. I read this. They're putting this shit up all over CNN, and I'm watching your news sources. CNN, MSNBC. Some people are saying 6 hours. Some people are retracting.
But no, Trump himself is on social media saying the ceasefire happened. He's saying it.
I know that. I read it. I read it with.
Why is he saying something? Wait, hold on. Why? This is why Jeremy had his take that's different than yours, my last caller. But why is Trump saying so much shit that ain't true?
How do you know it's not true?
You just said the ceasefire is not true. You just said it ain't true.
I'm going to pull a Tim on you. How do you know that a country that we're getting ready possibly to go to war with wouldn't put out a statement to Trump and Israel, yeah, we're going to agree to a ceasefire, and then after Trump releases that statement, backpedal and say there's no ceasefire to make him look like a fucking liar?
I'll double down with that statement and ask you back in return. How do we know Iran ever said they were going to have a ceasefire at all? It's only coming out of the mouth of Trump. You know, Trump doesn't show proof, as we're talking about with Tulsi Gabbard. He never shows proof for anything. Iran may have never even said that.
And again, I'll agree with you there, but we don't know which side of the fence it falls either way. Was Trump telling the truth, or did Iran pull a fucking okie doke?
We're talking Gen X.
More information. Only time's gonna tell us that.
Gen X. We're talking about war. Why is there so many unknown things coming out of President Trump? He's going against his own intelligence agencies. He's claiming that Iran offered a ceasefire. You and I are admitting that may not even be true. Is this guy not trustworthy?
Because he doesn't kiss and tell. That's why. The man doesn't kiss and tell. And I don't blame him. Because you'll have AOC or that other nut Muslim in fucking Congress calling the fucking Ayatollah saying, hey, they're going to bomb you. This has to be completely covert to make it work.
That is not what I asked you. What I'm asking you is, he has now already bombed them. That's in the past. Why won't you tell us why you came to the conclusion that Tulsi Gabbard was wrong and you were right? Are we going to see any evidence of that?
We don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows?
Is that okay?
I'm not going to pass a judgment based on a maybe or maybe not. That's foolish.
Then why is she still there? If she don't know what the hell she's talking about, why is she still there?
Because she changed her tune, number one. Number two, she made a statement and said that this is just they were misrepresenting what she said.
Okay, hold on. How about we actually hear what she said for folks who have not heard this yet? Because I got her on the screen, so we don't have to debate what she said. We can actually hear.
And I'll quote her. The IC has made an assessment that they are not developing nuclear weapons, and that the Iranian government, whatever, has not renewed their weapons program. That's what she said.
And what are you suggesting, that the IC, that community was wrong?
They could have been, absolutely.
Then who
agencies, Tim?
Who ranks above? Wait. If they're wrong, who ranks above them? Who would know more than they do?
All she can do is gather the information from the 18 agencies that are involved with the IC.
But that's what I'm.
Based on those results, make a statement.
But that's what I'm asking you, Gen X. When you're talking about the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, all of these organizations that are part of the IC, who else in this country would know more than they do?
You just proved my point. Exactly. So she's going off of what they reported to her. They could have been wrong.
So I'm going back to what I'm saying. If the FBI and the CIA and all these high-level organizations is wrong, who would know more than they do that they're wrong?
They may not all be wrong and may not all be right. It's 18 agencies, Tim. 18.
Is there any agency out there that's saying the opposite of what she came to the conclusion of? Is there any agency that's saying, no, they are developing a nuclear bomb?
At this point, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass and say yes. I'm going to say I don't know, because I'm not privy to that information. I don't know.
Should Trump have to give us some kind of evidence of what he's coming? I mean, if she can look at all the...
Yes.
Okay.
I will side with you there. Eventually, I think that he absolutely should give us the evidence, and I won't dispute that. I think you're right there.
And if he does not, would that sway your opinion of him?
It depends on the outcome. Again, I don't have enough information.
If he doesn't, wait, Gen X, if he doesn't give you the evidence, that means it's possible that he bombed a country that didn't need to be bombed.
If it goes south, yes, I will hold that against him.
Does it need to actually, if he bombed a country that didn't need to be bombed, does the bombing have to go south for you to care about it?
Guess what? If it goes north, if it goes right, then I stand corrected, and the bombing wasn't uncalled for. It's very simple, Tim. Wrap your head around that.
Okay, but I'm trying to figure out, if he doesn't show you evidence that the bombing was necessary, it's went south based on that alone. If he can't prove that that what Tulsi Gabbard is saying is wrong, if he can't show you any evidence of that, then it went south based on that alone.
Well, just because he doesn't prove it doesn't mean he can't prove it. All this shit, all this information could be a matter of national security.
So in other words, he don't have to prove it to you at all, because even if you don't, so in other words, he don't have to prove it to you.
Speech and MAGA brought this up.
Based on what you're saying, he don't have to prove it to you at all, because if he don't prove it, you'll just say, well, that don't mean he can't prove it.
That's not what I said.
That is exactly what you just said.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I said that I want him to prove it.
And if he doesn't? And if he doesn't?
If he doesn't. You know what? If it turns out good, then it's irrelevant.
If he doesn't prove that they were developing a nuclear weapon, what would your stance on that be?
I don't know.
I don't think he needs. I don't. Based on your answers, Gen X, I don't think he needs to prove it to you at all. I think he's going to keep your support no matter what.
Look, I'm still not on the fence. I'm not against it now as much as I was. And again, I'm not going to make that choice either way until I have more objective data. Okay, subjective perspectives don't mean shit to me. I want objective data. I want facts.
I hear what you're saying, but
like Jeremy, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike Jeremy. I think Jeremy's a good kid. I really do. And I think that he kind of I think he might have had a few drinks with him, whatever. He was like, oh, I love Jim. And that's another thing. Why the hell do you always exaggerate?
What did I exaggerate on?
You said that Kamala Harris was blacker than you. Man, Kitchen Skillet ain't blacker than you. The fuck?
I corrected. I did immediately correct that, because both of my parents on both sides are descendants of slavery. So I corrected that immediately. But based on what you're saying, I don't think Trump needs to prove this shit at all. I think your support is there for him no matter what comes out of this.
Yes, and I agree. You're right.
Yeah.
My support for him is going to be because my core values and my paradigms match what his do generally. Do I think he doesn't make mistakes? No, I'd be a fucking retard to think that. I think he makes mistakes legitimately. But you know what? So do I. So do you. So does everybody. He's human. Will he admit it? Never.
I'm listening to you talk, Gen X, and my head is getting cold. Anyway, I gotta move it on. I appreciate you coming through. You know how we do it. I don't think he has to prove anything to you, but Gen X, thanks for coming through.
Jim, you have a good night, man. Always, brother.
Same. Appreciate it. Looking in the comments, tell him AOC, the only way white colonized Africa was technology and unaliving people, gunpowder, guns, and cannons. What is this coming up from? Okay, let me go back to the bots. Wow. Like I said, he said Gen X. He said Jeremy has something to drink. Wow. I don't know where to go with that. There's a difference between everyone else and being president of the United States. That's true. I'm not arguing with that, but based on my last caller, and I think he might be closer to MAGA certainly than my caller before him, because my caller before him is now holding Trump accountable for not delivering on his campaign promises. My last caller is making it clear it really don't matter. I'm gonna ride with him no matter what. Because when I started asking him, well, what if he doesn't prove that they really were developing a nuclear weapon? Okay, well, if it doesn't go south, so in other words, he's gonna ride with him no matter what. By the way, I read this earlier. I got a few new viewers in the audience now, so I'll go ahead and read this again. These are 4 tweets that came from Trump several years ago, and I say tweets. These aren't Truth Social. These are tweets, meaning that this is back when Trump was on Twitter. November 29th, 2011, Trump tweeted, In order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. January 17th of 2012, a couple months later, he said Barack Obama will attack Iran in order to get reelected. And then a little bit over a year later, September 16, 2013, Trump stated, I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. Later on that year, November 10th, 2013, he says, remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. Now, he's suggesting that Obama does not have the ability to negotiate. Well, his negotiations with all of these wars that are going on has failed. I mean, he tried to negotiate between Zelensky and Putin. That didn't turn out well. He's tried to negotiate between Iran and Israel. That didn't turn out well, but he's criticizing Obama's not having negotiation skills. But notice here he's suggesting that Obama was going to use an attack on Iran for some kind of political gain. I guess we got to assume he didn't just do that, huh? He was wrong then and wrong now, says Black Baby Boy. Shout out to you. Real quick in the comments before I move it on. Obama negotiated 5 million immigrants out of the country. You know, the crazy thing is with that, you know, whether it's Obama attacking, you know, launching attacks in Yemen, they're bringing that up now. It's odd that when Obama was president, he was the worst commander-in-chief we ever had. But now every time Trump does something controversial that MAGA really likes, like securing the border or attacking Iran, well, you know, Obama did something similar. So in other words, the guy was actually doing shit you liked. You just couldn't admit it. All of a sudden, Trump is deporting everybody, separating families, putting kids in. You know, Obama was doing the same thing. No, you were telling us Obama was for open borders. He was terrible. But now that Trump is getting in trouble, well, let's bring up the fact that Obama was doing it too. Knowing damn well while you're giving Trump credit for doing it, you didn't give Obama nothing but shit for doing the same thing, but now you're trying to use it because you think it's advantageous in helping Trump. Same thing with this whole claim that Obama was launching strikes in the nation of Yemen. Once again, during the time he was doing that, it was all unconstitutional. Now all of a sudden Trump launches strikes in Iran. Well, let's bring up Obama. It's kind of funny. I mean, how many other things Trump is going to do that it turns out Obama was doing it too? And although we love it when Trump does it, we were chastising the hell out of Obama for doing the same thing. The hypocrisy is staggering, says Valerie Willis. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. I think we all are aware of the tan suit issue when Obama was wearing a tan suit or not wearing a flag lapel pin, how the right criticized that. I mean, obviously Zelensky showing up in the Oval Office not wearing a suit, they criticized that. Trump is running around the whole damn country wearing a baseball hat. And it's totally fine. I mean, no fashion, there is no fashionista around that's gonna say that baseball hat, a MAGA hat looks good with a dark blue suit. And they're totally fine with that. But Obama puts on a tan suit and the suit is the wrong color. This guy's wearing a blue suit with a baseball cap on. It's totally okay. Yeah, there is a tad of hypocrisy there. I mean, I don't know how many people roam around wearing, full, dress suits and baseball caps. You don't normally see that. But when Trump does it, hey, it's cool, it's in. So, there's a bit of hypocrisy there. Looking in the comments, a hat. You're complaining about, laughing my fucking ass off, this race is so pathetic. But that's the problem though, Josh. You're saying that it's pathetic to complain about Trump wearing a hat. But you totally ignored me mentioning that they complained about Obama wearing a tan suit or not having a flag lapel pin on. It's crazy that it's okay when you're complaining about any little thing, Zelensky not wearing a suit in the Oval Office. All of these things are okay to complain about. But when the liberals say, well, he's wearing a hat, now all of a sudden that's laughable, that's crazy. I'm just simply saying, don't play the game if you don't like the game. Trump has fashion. He wears diapers. Damn. Okay, I'm not even going to go with your comment there, King Trump. Only thing I complained about Obama is the fact that he's a worthless communist piece of shit, says Josh. Well, he's no longer in the office anymore, so we'll leave it at that. I don't know what Obama did that would indicate he's a communist. Came across like he was a capitalist that cared about his own people. Obama was the imputation czar in chief. What is an imputation czar in chief? Is trying to the orange cloud is trying to do his numbers and continuously trying to outdo him. Nobel Prize is next. You know, any of you folks think that Trump might end up with a Nobel Peace Prize? I was sure. I mean, I know he wants one. I think we all realize that. I don't know. Maybe if Kennedy somehow stumbles on a cure for cancer and Trump can take credit for it. I don't know what else he could possibly be doing that's going to lead him to get in the Nobel Peace Prize. And my guess is, even if Trump did, they say he could cure cancer and they wouldn't give him any credit. I really believe there's some validity to that at this point, where he could actually cure cancer and they wouldn't, because the siding with Benjamin Netanyahu and all the atrocities that Israel has done with Trump's blessing, that's probably going to disqualify him from any Nobel Peace Prize for that alone. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu, at least according to even our allies, I'm not talking about anybody, I'm talking about our allies, I'm talking about even NATO member states, they see Netanyahu as a war criminal. He's a war, he can't even travel in a whole bunch of countries. I mean, he can't even travel throughout the world right now. Benjamin Netanyahu is considered to be a war criminal. I think he has Interpol warrants. And Trump is, for the most part, fueling his war machine. I think that alone probably would disqualify Trump from becoming a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Maybe I'm wrong. Tim, during the meeting with Zelensky, wore the long sleeve shirt with the Ukrainian army's Yeah, I know what he wore, but you saw J.D. Vance and them criticizing him for not wearing a suit in the Oval Office. And like I said, Trump is wearing a baseball cap in the Oval Office, and that's okay. Could you or I or anybody else visiting? Well, Elon Musk walked in there with one on, but I mean, he's wearing a baseball cap. That's certainly violating the dress code in most places. Not to mention he's wearing a cap indoors too. I mean, there's all kinds of things you could bring up. And that's okay, but the tan suit, Obama not wearing a flag lapel pin, that's something to criticize. It does seem like there's a tad bit of hypocrisy there. I'll leave it at that. What the fuck does Obama have to do with warmongering? No, they tried to suggest Obama was a warmonger. After George W. Bush, I don't know where that came from. Why are we talking about Obama? Because he comes up. Kentucky, he does come up. Why did Zelensky meet with Democrats before he met with Trump? Because Democrats were in power before Trump was. Democrats were in power when war broke out. That's why they met. You didn't know that? Okay, all right. Wow, I don't even know why you even asked me that. They're not going to give the Nobel Peace Prize to a convicted sex offender. Trump wasn't convicted of sex offense, though. He was not convicted of that. But I do believe and I don't think the 34 felonies, I think the assistance to Netanyahu is what would strike him down, because that's on the world stage. I don't even think the 34 felonies will hurt him as much as assisting Benjamin Netanyahu. That, and not to mention the whole illegal immigration issue in America. People around the world know how we're treating immigrants right now. And it's not just how we're treating illegal immigrants. People are coming to this country legally on visitors visas and getting caught up in that shit. I mean, you got both the World Cup, FIFA World Cup that's supposed to be held here, was it next year or this year? Both the World Cup and the Olympics are both going to happen under Trump's term. And the officials from both of those events are now starting to express concern. Because people know what's happening to folks that are trying to get in this country. Even people who are coming here legally. People that are not, just coming here and getting detained for little bullshit here and there. And being held, in custody for weeks at a time. It's being heard around the world. That's just making news. So I do believe supporting Netanyahu and stuff like that will probably disqualify Trump from getting a Nobel Peace Prize. And I'm going to throw in a third one, which I know my beloved MAGA will not like. but the growing number of people, and I'm not just talking about minorities, but the growing number of people in this country that are starting to refer to Trump as some kind of intolerant racist is growing. I'm hearing this from a lot of white people. So, and some of them don't even live in the country. The number of people that think Trump is some kind of intolerant bigot or racist, that number is growing. This is stuff that people are hearing around the world. This shit is not just limited to this country. Remember, we are the biggest exporter of entertainment. Our movies and television and internet is watched all over the world. People know what's going on here. Hollywood, all of that shit. All of that stuff goes around the world. You're going to start, you have movies and people are criticizing this guy everywhere. They didn't do that about Obama, Bush, the rest. People are really pointing this stuff out. Not to mention we live in an age now where everybody got a video camera on them. Footage of the way ICE is roaming around the country with masks on. How many other free countries even have something like that? How many other free countries on earth, first world countries on earth, have police forces wearing masks, roaming around the country grabbing people? You got a whole lot of countries out there that have an illegal immigration problem. In fact, every first world country on earth has an illegal immigration problem. Everybody wants to go to first world countries, whether it's the UK, whether it's Italy, even Greece has an illegal immigration problem. How many countries feature law enforcement roaming around with masks on, grabbing people? Them videos are making it around. People seeing that shit all over the world. People are seeing that. The side to Israel is stolen, earned. The side to Israel is the stolen, earned wages from enslaved people, a crime with no statute of limitations and steadily building up interest. Number one commodity back then, cotton. Okay, you're going way back. Anyway, I'm just simply saying, and I see the comments, so if you have a lot of illegal workers at your construction sites, you can just get them deported instead of paying them. This is said to have happened actually. Wow. So that's crazy. So what he's saying is, I've never heard this before, but what he's saying is, let's say you do have a construction project. You don't want to pay American wages, so you hire a bunch of illegal immigrants, painters, drywall folks, roofers, or whatever. Have them do all the work, and when it's time to pay them, call ICE. ICE comes and deports everybody. You don't have to pay anybody anything. I haven't heard that, but he said that. Has anybody heard anything like that happening? Where somebody deliberately had workers deported so that they wouldn't have to pay them? Damn. That's cruel. Wow, that's cruel. Look, at the end of the day, if you call ICE, they're going to show up. If you call ICE and say you have a bunch of folks roaming around, listen, I got a bunch of people working for me. I'm starting to get wind and rumor that a lot of the IDs they gave me are fake. I believe a lot of these folks are here and they shouldn't be here. ICE is going to come. ICE would certainly show up. That's evil. Wow, that's bad. That is really bad if somebody did something like that. MAGA is the party of cruelty, says Mike. That would be really awful if they done something, if somebody actually did something like that. America already fucked them with 9/11. They're not going for the blame game again. Crazy shit. Anyhow, folks, I do gotta step away for a moment. Before I do, real quick, Miss Mobetta, I did see you in there. There are people who have them work in Connell. Yeah, that's crazy. Have you heard anything like that, Miss Mobetta?
Yes, listen, that happened here on Long Island.
Really?
Yes, and they called the people, so they weren't paying the people properly, and they have certain people that work in with the immigrants and stuff that actually filed charges against the companies for not paying them. You know,
the question I've been asking from day one is, if we are so gung-ho on securing the border, why are we not going after the Americans that are literally co-conspirators? If you got Americans that are hiring them, and that's where most of them end up they're working for Americans. Why are we not holding any of the Americans that are hiring these people accountable?
That was always my thing. You're going after the wrong people. You're going after the wrong people. Who's housing them? Who's paying them?
Yeah.
And and then let me tell you, I worked at a bank. They get paid really decent. They get because I cash their checks. So what they do is they cash their checks against their boss's account because a lot of them don't have ID, and they cash their checks against the boss's account. Yeah.
So they're getting paid under the table and using their boss's name to cash their checks.
Using their boss's account to cash the check.
So obviously the boss is in on it.
Exactly. They know they're illegal. You know what I'm saying? And they still hire them. They go over there. You can go on these blocks, and if you got work to do, you pull your truck up. Like, listen, I'll pay you XYZ. Guess what? They jumping in that truck. But again, now you got these companies not paying workers' compensation. They're not paying employee tax. They're not paying medical. They're not. So it's saving them money. So
yeah.
they demonize the illegals for being here, but not demonize the big corporation or the company.
Yeah, my guess is because some of the heads of those corporations are political donors. So
absolutely,
yep.
Of course, absolutely. This is what that country's been about. When it comes to them, one hand washes the other, and they both wash the face. But that's only for the people in our sector. You know what I mean? In their 1%. So they can't cope with a little man, like somebody with a small business with a small bodega or just not just a bodega, but a small business shop or something. The small people are not allowed to do it. Only the big ones.
But here's what I don't understand, because you do hear them grabbing folks up at Home Depot and they're going into restaurants and factories. What happened to the whole claim that these folks are criminals, rapists, and murderers? Why, or they're here getting welfare? You notice they're not hanging around a welfare administration building. They're grabbing people while they're working. I mean, what happened to the rapists and murderers part?
They're lying and they're full of shit. That's why. They full of cocky. He wants to make it so he's this gigantic savior. But again, let's go back to when they had these bills on the table to shut the border down. Why would you tell them to debunk it? Why would you tell them not to pass the bill if this would have helped? Because he had nothing else to run on. And you see, after running his campaign, the only thing that was succeeding at is closing, is shutting down the border. Everything else is a shit show.
He's getting a large portion of the American blessing, though, in the way he's treated immigrants. I mean, I don't care what you do. Hold on. I don't care what you see online being done to an immigrant. Slammed to the ground, folks getting their windows busted out and dragged out of their cars. In the comment section on any of those videos, people are saying, this is what I voted for.
Well, you hear how MAGA speaks. You hear how his cult talks. Gen X was up here blowing so much smoke up your ass, it was coming out of my nose.
Well, he just referred to you as his favorite sandwich maker not ago.
Yeah, I know he did. I know he did. Not today, fat boy.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Not today.
Why do you think, I mean, listen, I understand we got a large portion of people in this country that came here illegally, but why do you think MAGA favors, like, being really cruel to them? It's one thing to deport somebody, but sending people to prison and stuff like that. Why do you think MAGA would, I think up to and including an execution. MAGA supports being really cruel to them. Why do you think that is?
I don't, for the life of me, I don't know why either. I would like, and that's what I want to ask MAGA. What have they done to you to make you so harsh and cruel against them? You know what I mean? Yeah. Of course, we don't want nobody over here living off the fat of the land for nothing. We were, everybody got to, pay their fair share and stuff, which they were taxpayers. Anytime you go to that grocery store, you're a taxpayer. Sorry.
Yeah.
But what have they done that was so detrimental? And that's why they heightened that Lincoln Riley situation. That was one situation, a terrible. I hate that it happened. It shouldn't have happened. But again, you still got these homegrown people committing heinous acts and you don't hear nothing about it. So why are they such the problem? That's because they listen to their cult leader. He demonized those people.
But I mean, you often hear folks suggest that Trump loves everybody, and that it's wrong to even suggest that the guy is a bigot or something like that.
The devil is a lie, Tim. They know he's a bigot. He don't even like them. It's just that he know they buy into anything he says, and they're gonna support him either way. Do you see how when you ask them questions, why would they do X, Y, Z? And they be like, I don't know.
Yeah, well.
Come on, Tim. You can hear it for yourself.
I hear.
You have evidence. You have the evidence. You had the evidence of him doing wrong things, and they still try to say she was wrong. Like, come on, man. No.
For
the life of me, it's so frustrating sometimes because they're like, you can't be this fucking stupid. Are we in the Matrix?
Well, I gotta agree. I don't understand why they were so quick to dismiss the comments coming from Tulsi Gabbard. I have no clue. All it took is for Trump to say what Tulsi Gabbard said is wrong, and boom, okay, well, she's wrong. I don't understand that. He didn't have to show any proof. He didn't have to back his statement up with anything. At least Tulsi Gabbard admitted that her information is coming from a collective gathering of the intelligence agencies. Trump just said she's wrong, and that was good enough. They didn't ask any questions at all. Let's go get her on.
Well, you remember when Trump said he can go shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and won't nothing happen to him.
Yeah.
And his people won't believe that it even happened. They could see him with the pew-pew right in his hand, right, with the blowing the smoke off the barrel, and they'll say, no, well, what had happened was, see, it wasn't him, that was AI. It was, the photo was doctored. That's not what he meant. He didn't mean to shoot him. He meant to shoot the deer across the street. Like some dumb shit, because that's how the fuck they sound. Stupid.
As comical as that sounds, I do believe if Trump was to pop somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, MAGA's first response would be, well, what did he do to Trump? You know, I didn't see the whole video.
Well, he was provoked. He was minding his business. He was,
Yeah.
But it's too bad Fifth Avenue don't accept Trump ass anymore. They couldn't. Go down there to Mar-a-Lago with that bullshit.
So what do you think about this whole Iranian conflict? I mean, do you think it was time to stop Iran from getting a nuclear bomb, or do you agree with Tulsi Gabbard that it sounded like it wasn't necessary as close as March?
Tulsi Gabbard was spot on, and they know it. But again, you know who I blame for all this shit? The Supreme Court.
Why do you say that?
For giving him a meeting. You see, to the point where he disregards and disrespects the Constitution. He knows daggone well those people they have not been bothering anybody. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We know a lot of this stuff has to do with we want to come over there and control your land. We want your land and your resources. That's what most of this stuff is about. It's about land and resources. So he know that y'all how y'all gonna drop a bomb on them on an anticipation, and when you have zero evidence, what says to you that they this close to a nuclear bomb? Let's just stop.
You know,
they can't present nothing.
Yeah, and that is the problem that I mentioned earlier in the show, is that we've been saying that they're trying to develop a nuclear bomb for about 20 continuous years. So, yeah, what evidence do you have to suggest that they were about to do it all of a sudden now versus all the times in the past that Obama and Bush and all of them folks, Trump during his first administration, they were all saying back then that they were only months away from getting it? What makes what you're saying now truthful compared to all the times in the past you've been obviously lying? And go ahead.
You see Trump magic numbers 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He gets that little big mouth, flat lip girl up there on TV talking about what, 2 weeks? Well, in 2 weeks, I should know in 2 weeks. Oh, that's why is that why he calling it the 12-day war? because this is what he was planning to do the whole time?
He definitely calls it. He knows. I had Gen X on it before you. They're still calling it. They're still saying it was not a war, even though Trump is calling it a war.
Because they're always trying to change. They always trying to change his words and trying to speak for him because they know he speaks with low moral, so they don't want to really be embarrassed to say, God damn, that really came out of his mouth? No, this is what he said. This is what we gonna do, y'all. Let's cover it up so it'll make it look better.
Yeah, I had so many people coming on the show today, yesterday, day before, saying that we're not going to war with them. It's not a war. And then, yeah, the guy gets on social media himself and starts calling it a war. And now they say he don't know what he's talking about.
Trump wants to be this major savior. So he goes around starting fires that he himself tried to put out. You know what I'm saying? And then it gets out of control, and then Taco kicks in. Then Taco kicks in and say, no, that wasn't me. That was her. Tulsi, what's her name?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah. Oh, she lied about it. You understand what I'm saying?
You know something, though? It would have been a little bit better, as I've told many guests before you, is that if he showed some kind of evidence of why he's saying Tulsi Gabbard was lying, that would make more sense. But to just say she's lying and provide no evidence at all, well, what did you find out that she didn't find out? Come on, at least say something. And like I said, MAGA was okay if he says she's lying, she's lying. Let's go to war, or let's go ahead and bomb Iran.
Right, exactly. But he has such a hard on for Obama. When I tell you every other sentence come out is Obama couldn't do this. They weren't confident enough to do this. He had a deal with Iran. Didn't you cancel that?
Yeah, well, he claims that Iran was not following the terms of the deal.
Of course he gonna say that.
Yeah, he says
you can't believe shit that come out of his mouth. I'm sorry.
I wanted to say something real quick before you continue. King, who said that in the comments? King Trump says they can't even tell you what a woman is. I actually did a video today because of what's going on right now, and I said that, the right can't even tell you what a war is. I mean, you don't know. What is the definition of a war? Because you're talking about they don't know what I mean, we're literally bombing a country all over the nation of Iran. We're dropping bombs and we're saying that somehow this is not a war. So right needs to learn the definition of a war before you talk about the definition of a woman. But Ms. Mobetti,
that's crazy. That's crazy. If they want to know what a woman is, just look at my profile picture.
I like it. I've heard that's a nice way to run it. All right, Ms. Mobetti, appreciate you coming through.
Indeed.
Thank you. Good talk. All right, looking in the comments here real quick. Yeah, the liberals don't know what a woman is. The right don't know what a war is. We haven't been in a war since Korea. Really? I'd love to know what your definition of a war is. So you're skipping over Iraq, Vietnam, all of that. None of that's a war, huh? Wow, okay. What woman? It's not your daddy. Two genders, 100% fucking Democrat, liberal weirdos. And Paul, good evening to you. It's not a war. Iran shot most of their ammo already. Well, if it's not a war, why don't somebody tell President Trump? Because he's all over social media calling it a war. He even called it a 12-day war. Does the president not know what the hell he's talking about? Somebody let me know. Anyhow, folks, I do got to step away. Thank you for the 130,000. Wow. Follow the program if you enjoy this type of dialogue from all sides of the aisle. We've been in for a few years. Despite the language, we are MAGA friendly. So understand if we got left-wing opinions or right-wing opinions, we're still MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So understand that. You can come on the program, and we're not going to limit your time, or we don't talk down the guests or none of that bullshit. It's all about free speech here. So if you do favor that, if you're watching us on TikTok, or if you're watching us on Instagram or YouTube, feel free to drop a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. Monday through Fridays when we generally are here. You're taking it out of context. It's their war, not our war. What kind of shit is that? It's their war, but not our war. We're the only one dropping fucking bombs. Wow, you know something? This is what my last caller was just saying, is you try to spin stuff. It's not, you're taking a war out of context. It's not our war. It's that, what? What the hell does all that even mean? Taking a war. You're dropping. Okay, he says you're Ted. What is that? Says Ted Delray or Detroit says you're taking that out of context. It's their war, not our war. It's our planes. It's our bombs. It's our logistics. It's our equipment. But it's not our war. It would not be happening if it was not for us. Wow, I don't even know where to go with that. I've never heard of nothing like that. They just literally making up, just, look, Trump called it a war. You don't want it to be called a war because you know damn well you voted for Trump because he promised no new wars. So if you call it a war, then you're admitting that you're overlooking him fucking up in his campaign promise. So the best way to save face is to do everything you can to avoid calling it a war. Up to and including trying to redefine Trump's own words when he's all over social media calling it a war. It's not their war. What? Wow. Why can't I? He said it's not our war, it's their war. Wow. Unbelievable. It's okay. Anyway, Iran is getting beaten like a stepchild. Yeah, that is happening, but it's still a war. So you don't think we should help Israel, but yet we sent billions to Ukraine to help them. No, I don't. Listen, October 8th, yeah, we should help Israel. June of 2025, no. There's not. You're not helping Israel at this point. It's just a slaughter. Israel's not acting in self-defense. Yeah, there was a time when helping Israel made sense. That time is long since passed. When is the last time Israel was on the defense? Everything they're doing is offensive. Everything. We're making jokes now in the comments that Iran is not even fighting back. All of that shit's offensive. They're throwing all the punches. So no, at this point, you don't keep helping them. In anytime all of our allies are now starting to say that Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, the leader of Israel, is a war criminal, that should tell you something. We're continuing to pick people that we normally would not have been favorable to. We're choosing Putin. Netanyahu is well overboard. Well overboard. He's literally using food as a weapon. Okay, you want to get Hamas. Why are you starving kids? They actually have babies that are literally dead of starvation, not dying. They've died. They actually have plenty of kids that have died. You know how long it takes to fucking starve to death? That doesn't happen overnight. So now you're talking about somebody watching kids just literally cry in pain as their organs grind to a halt. Should we be helping Benjamin Netanyahu do that? Well, they got some hostages. So this is what happens. We're going to starve their kids to death. Okay. All right. Like I said, I can't, if that's the mindset, I'll leave it at that. Anyhow, I do have to step away. I appreciate the 130,000 likes. Thank you folks that are following the program, giving your boy a sub. Catch you tomorrow.